Chapter 43:12. At that moment, Duan Lingtian still did not know that he was being targeted by everyone. Of course, even though he did not know, Duan Lingtian could still vaguely sense the danger when he left the secret realm with enough benefits and chaos points. The tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. In the past, those who wanted to target me were only the descendants of lower-level ultimate gods and some of the best lower-level ultimate gods. Now that the Chaos Points total list has been released, I'm afraid that in the upgraded Chaos territory, those who want to be on the total list or those who have relatives or friends who want to be on the total list will see me as a thorn in their side and target me. While leaving the secret realm, Duan Lingtian did not feel happy because of the great harvest this time. Instead, he looked solemn and was extremely vigilant. He was afraid that he would be recognized as soon as he was teleported out. If the other party was weak, it would be fine. If they were strong and he could not fight against them, then he would be in trouble. Therefore, almost as soon as he was teleported out and landed, he quickly teleported a second time, disappearing on the spot. After 2 teleportations, he began to look left and right, staring at his surroundings. With just a glance, he saw 2 people fighting nearby. These 2 people were both medium-level ultimate gods with decent strength. Both of them had mastered the power of law that could illuminate millions of miles. They were fighting fiercely and were evenly matched. However, almost as soon as Duan Lingtian appeared, both of them stopped fighting because neither of them wanted to be the Oriole behind and reap the benefits. At the same time, Duan Lingtian could also feel 2 divine senses sweeping over and enveloping him in the blink of an eye. Seeing this, his heart sank and a hint of killing intent flashed in the depths of his eyes. Although these 2 people were quite strong, if he attacked with all his strength, it was not impossible to kill them. However, it would be a bit noisy. Moreover, if the 2 of them joined forces, it would be difficult to kill them in a short time. Once they started fighting, it might attract the attention of more people nearby, which was not a good thing for him. Did they recognize me? If they recognize us, we must kill them even if there is a risk of alerting the others. At this moment, Duan Lingtian was fearless in the face of the 2 medium ultimate gods probing. His eyes even flashed with murderous intent. The 2 mid-level ultimate gods were surprised to see a low-level ultimate god not afraid of them. Seeing their stunned expressions, Duan Lingtian suddenly realized that these 2 people did not recognize him. It made sense when he thought about it. Although he had killed quite a few people in the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm, when he was killing, there was basically no one around him. Even if there were people watching in the dark, they wouldn't dare to rashly record a scryer recording because there would be weak energy fluctuations during the recording process. It was easy to alarm the person being recorded. Meanwhile, the people who were hiding in the dark and watching Duan Lingtian make a move but did not dare to show themselves were basically people whose strength was inferior to Duan Lingtian. Naturally, they did not dare to alarm Duan Lingtian because of this. Therefore, in the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm, except for some people who had recorded Duan Lingtian's scryer recording in the mysterious gangland or those who had seen Duan Lingtian before, basically no one knew the real face of Duan Lingtian. Let's go. Since he had confirmed that the 2 people did not recognize him and that they had no intention of attacking him, Duan Lingtian did not stay and immediately teleported away. Retreat. The 2 mid-level ultimate gods almost simultaneously looked in the direction where Duan Lingtian had teleported away. Although it was teleportation, both of them were mid-level ultimate gods. It was not difficult for them to determine the direction where Duan Lingtian had teleported away because there would be fluctuations in space energy there. Then, both of them looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. The 2 people from different planes of gods who were originally fighting looked at each other. They did not look like 2 opponents who were fighting to the death a moment ago. That lower ultimate god doesn't seem to be afraid of us? One of the mid-level ultimate gods asked uncertainly. He thought he was mistaken. Earlier, when that lower ultimate god stared at them, he did not seem to be afraid of them at all. Was that the reaction of a lower ultimate god? He seems to be a lower ultimate god who has just entered the ultimate god realm. The other mid-level ultimate god was also shocked. As a mid-level ultimate god, It was not difficult for him to see that Duan Lingtian had just entered the ultimate god realm from the divine energy that was surging around him. However, such a person was not afraid of two mid-level ultimate gods at all. It seemed like he even wanted to kill them. One should know that Duan Lingtian had seen them fight when he first appeared. They were both mid-level ultimate gods who had mastered the power of law that could illuminate millions of miles. They were the cream of the crop among the mid-level ultimate gods. They were at least in the second echelon of mid-level ultimate gods. The first echelon of mid-level ultimate gods were those who could kill higher ultimate gods who had consolidated their cultivation base. As for them, they could only fight higher ultimate gods who had just entered the ultimate god realm. Could it be? Suddenly, both of them looked at each other again and thought of the same possibility at the same time. A young man in a purple robe. He looks very young. Could it really be him? Both of them looked at each other several times before they said the same name almost in unison. Duan Lingtian. In the next instant, after confirming the other party was Duan Lingtian, not only did they no longer continue to fight, but they also flew toward the nearby military camp. Soon, they entered the military camp and spread the news of Duan Lingtian's appearance. They did not expect to enter the overall ranking. However, one of them had a clansman who had a chance to enter the top 3 if Duan Lingtian died. He had spread the news of Duan Lingtian's appearance. Once Duan Lingtian died, the clan behind him would not treat him badly. In fact, even the supreme expert behind his clan might reward him. This was because the clansman who had a chance to enter the top 3 if Duan Lingtian died was a direct descendant of the supreme expert behind his clan. He was also the supreme expert's favorite descendant. That person even had a projection jade slip of the supreme expert's great ancestor in his clan. This showed how much the great ancestor valued him. As for the other person, although he did not have any clansmen or friends who had a chance to enter the top 3, he could not stand the rise of a genius who defied the natural order. It would be a good thing for him if such a genius died because of his informant. At that moment, both of them returned to the military camp and spread the news of Duan Lingtian's appearance. It attracted a lot of attention. Many medium and high-level ultimate gods left the military camp and headed towards the place where Duan Lingtian had appeared not long ago. Among the crowd, there were also people who stared at the two informants with a murderous glint in their eyes. Little junior brother. He actually appeared nearby? This was a young man with a handsome appearance. He wore a long white robe, and he had an elegant bearing like a scholar. Shockingly, he was Duan Lingtian's third senior brother in the myriad jurisprudence palace's inner palace, Yang Yuchen. Yang Yuchen did not expect to hear news of his little junior brother's appearance in the vicinity half a day after he arrived at the military camp. After memorizing the faces of the two informants, Yang Yuchen followed the crowd and left the military camp. Just like the others, he headed in the direction where Duan Lingtian had appeared not long ago. Unlike the others who wanted to hunt down Duan Lingtian, Yang Yuchen's purpose was very simple. If he could find his little junior brother, he would meet up with him and protect him. He even wanted to help his little junior brother kill his opponent when he was in danger. Although Duan Lingtian did not know that the two of them had already guessed his identity after he left, he had no idea they had already guessed his identity. However, he did not walk in a straight line. After spending a lot of battle merits to open a secret realm of 10 people, Duan Lingtian would change places and wander around every once in a while. However, there were too many people searching for him. Among these people, some acted according to common sense and searched for Duan Lingtian in a straight line while others acted contrary to common sense and wandered around looking for Duan Lingtian. Furthermore, the speed of these people was very fast. Those who dared to hunt down Duan Lingtian were the cream of the crop even if they were medium ultimate gods. Generally, the cream of the crop of medium ultimate gods would not dare to act alone and would move in groups. As for the group of high-level ultimate gods, they were basically the kind who had consolidated their cultivation base. Even if some of them had not consolidated their cultivation base, they would still travel in groups. A group of people chasing after Duan Lingtian. Some were just there to join in the fun while some really wanted to kill Duan Lingtian. They were overwhelming like a swarm of locusts passing through. At that moment, although Duan Lingtian was wandering around, there were still many experts like a swarm of locusts that were getting closer and closer to him. He did not know. In fact, even those experts didn't know about it. It should be safe now, right? After traveling for a few days and wandering around, Duan Ling Tian felt he had been careful enough and should be able to shake off some people who recognized him along the way. Therefore, he entered a big canyon and found a place to rest for a short while. He was not in a hurry to continue wandering outside. Right now, he also needed time to rest. He was not physically tired, but he was mentally exhausted. Although this exhaustion did not seem obvious, in this state, if he were to engage in a fierce battle with someone weaker than him, he might not even be able to escape alive if he were to meet someone stronger than him. Even if he were to meet someone who was as strong as him, there was a risk of him being defeated. I'll rest for a few days before setting off. After making up his mind, Duan Ling Tian entered the depths of the canyon and dug out a cave. He also set up multiple formations outside and even made some other concealment. Then he entered the cave to rest. He sat cross-legged on the ground and emptied his mind, leaving only a trace of consciousness to communicate with the formations. On the second day after Duan Ling Tian emptied his mind, 4 figures came together and arrived above the canyon where Duan Ling Tian was. At the same time, 4 divine senses were sent into the canyon. There's a formation fluctuation. There's someone inside. The 4 figures swept together like lightning and arrived at the depths of the canyon in the blink of an eye. Chapter 43:13. It's a formation. Someone's in there. Be careful. Don't use your divine consciousness to probe further to avoid triggering the formation. 4 figures, 4 mid-level ultimate gods, were familiar with each other and came from the same plane of gods. They were even fellow disciples. This was because they were all disciples of the same high-level ultimate god expert. They were either direct disciples or in-name disciples. Even the in-name disciples were not weak. However, due to their age, their chances of becoming a high-level ultimate god were slim. Therefore, they were only accepted as in-name disciples by the high-level ultimate god expert. Of course, someone who could make the best medium-level ultimate gods like them willingly become his unofficial disciple was no ordinary person. The person was one of the top high-level ultimate gods. His strength was comparable to the leaders of the ultimate god forces in the various planes of gods. In fact, he was one of the strongest people in their planes of gods and was recognized as one of the strongest people's representatives. He was also one of the strongest people in the planes of gods. He was in existence with a supreme divine weapon and was one of the top existences among the upper-level ultimate gods. Senior brothers, do you think the person hiding in there could be Duan Ling Tian? The 4 mid-level ultimate gods entered the canyon cautiously. None of them dared to make any rash moves. The only middle-aged man among the 4 was asking the other 3 in a low voice. Of course, although he was speaking, he had isolated a certain distance away from the surface of his body to prevent the outside world from transmitting his voice. It's possible. Regardless of whether it's possible or not, we have to take a closer look. What if it's Duan Ling Tian and we missed it? If it's Duan Ling Tian, once we kill him and record his scryer image, even if Master doesn't get into the top 3 in the overall ranking, the 4 of us will still be famous in the planes of gods. Even Master won't mistreat us. The other 3 looked like old men, but each one of them was full of vigor. It was just that they looked old on the outside, but they were full of vigor, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Duan Ling Tian is proficient in the laws of space. In order to prevent him from teleporting away, Junior Brother Yang Chun, you are also proficient in the laws of space. You are in charge of disrupting the surrounding space and preventing him from teleporting away. Among the 3 old men, an old man with a dignified aura spoke loudly to another old man. All right. The old man named Yang Chun responded immediately. Then, he silently extended his divine energy that had been fused with the law of space. If it's really Duan Ling Tian, he's also skilled in the law of space. Moreover, he's also comprehended the law of space to the point where his light can illuminate 1,000,000 miles. No matter how discreet my actions are, he'll be able to detect it very quickly. I know. As long as you disturb the surrounding space, we will attack together in the next instant, break the formation over there, and force the person inside out. If the four of us work together, we won't even be afraid of an ordinary high-level ultimate god. Even if he's the best among the high-level ultimate gods and is stronger than all of us combined, as long as we reveal our identities and why we're attacking, I'm sure he won't hold it against us. It was obvious that they had already thought of a way out. Junior brother Yang Chun, after 10 breaths, the three of us will form an encirclement and trap the person hiding inside. You'll be in charge of disrupting the space and preventing him from teleporting away. Collect free good books, follow V. X. Recommend the books you like and receive cash red packets. If it's Duan Ling Tian, we'll just surround and kill him. If it's not him, we'll kill him even if it's just an ordinary mid-level ultimate god. If it's a low-level ultimate god, we'll let him live. After all, we'll lose our chaos points if we kill them. If it's a high-level ultimate god, there's no need to fight him and waste our strength. Just say it's a misunderstanding. Perhaps we'll wake him up from his seclusion and inform him that Duan Ling Tian might be nearby. He might even thank us. After the dignified old man greeted Yang Chun, he led the other old man and the only middle-aged man toward the formation in the depths of the canyon. Then, the three of them stepped into the air and stood in 3 different directions, overlooking the entire canyon. Do it. 10 breaths after the dignified old man and Yang Chun spoke, the dignified old man took the initiative to speak. His voice reverberated in the surroundings as he made his move the moment he finished speaking. Golden light burst out and the old man seemed to have turned into a golden man in an instant. His entire body was shining with golden light as he turned into a sword and shot toward the sky. The sword whistled as the sharp sword pierced through the air. A vision of heaven and earth that illuminated 1,000,000 miles of land appeared and surrounded the area. It was a majestic sight. Following this, the entire canyon trembled as a massive black hole appeared. Countless cracks spread out, causing countless rocks to fly everywhere. At the same time, the other 2 people beside the dignified old man who was proficient in the law of gold also made their moves. Another 2 light shields that illuminated 1,000,000 miles of the law of gold appeared. 3 different colored rays of the law of gold illuminated 1,000,000 miles of land and shrouded 1,000,000 miles of land. Suddenly, another ray of the law of gold illuminated 1,000,000 miles of land appeared. A total of 4 rays of the law of gold illuminated 1,000,000 miles of land within 1,000,000 miles of land. For a moment, it attracted the attention of many people. For medium ultimate gods had made their move. Could it be that someone has found Duan Ling Tian? At the same time, many people had the same thought in their minds and quickly moved toward the place where the person who made the move was. Bang! The vast and deep canyon was instantly shattered by the 4 rays of energy. The layers of formation in the depths of the canyon were also shattered in an instant. Duan Ling Tian, who was in closed-door cultivation, also woke up at the same time. The moment he woke up, he realized that almost all of the formation he had set up had been destroyed. The only thing that remained was the defensive formation formed by the formation plate. Cracks had appeared on it, and it was because of this layer of protection that he was only slightly injured. Otherwise, his injuries would not have been so light. Have I been discovered? Impossible. There's no divine consciousness at all. Unless it's an ultimate god. Otherwise, even if it's the divine consciousness of a higher ultimate god, my formation will give me feedback immediately. What's going on? At that moment, various thoughts appeared in Duan Ling Tian's mind. Before he could finish his thoughts, he was ready to teleport away. However, he quickly realized that the surrounding space was disturbed and could not teleport at all. At the same time, a surprised voice came from outside. Senior Brother Lei, this person wants to teleport away. He's proficient in the law of space. It's very likely to be Duan Ling Tian. Chapter 43:14. Hiding in the Grand Canyon. Multiple defensive formations. An expert in the law of space. At almost the same instant that Yang Chun's voice sounded, the eyes of the other 3 lit up in unison. Duan Ling Tian. It could be Duan Ling Tian. Kill! Senior Brother Lei, who was an expert in the law of metal, took the lead and attacked. When the golden sword light shot out again, there was a faint sword aura in it. It was the sword principle. In the Grand Canyon, Duan Lingtian had just come to his senses and realized that he could not teleport. However, he did not stay idle and immediately moved out. A space storm brewed around him and turned into thousands of sword lights. In the collapsed canyon, Duan Lingtian's figure soared into the sky amidst the dust and debris. He was not an expert in the law of Earth. Although he could dig a hole to escape, it was not very efficient. It would be fine if there were no experts in the law of Earth, but if there were, he would be digging his own grave. For people, one is an expert in the law of space, one is an expert in the law of metal, and there's also the embryonic form of the sword principle. As for the other two, one is an expert in the law of fire, and the other is an expert in the law of earth. There really are experts in the law of earth. Luckily, I didn't dig a hole to escape. When he saw that one of the three people rushing down from above was an expert in the law of earth that could illuminate millions of miles, Duan Lingtian knew that he was right to be careful. 4 medium-level ultimate gods. They're the best of the best among the medium-level ultimate gods. Even if they're not the best, they're close. If it was me in the past, I wouldn't even be able to escape from them. As for now, Duan Lingtian's eyes narrowed as he flew in the direction of the old man who was an expert in the law of space. At that moment, the old man also noticed Duan Lingtian's movement and his expression changed slightly. He then flew towards the other three to meet up with them. He did not dare to face Duan Lingtian alone. A medium-level ultimate god like him had died at the hands of Duan Lingtian. Only when the four of them worked together could they ensure his safety. Trying to escape? You can't leave. The corners of Duan Lingtian's mouth curled up into a sneer. Then, the law of space around him surged out as a terrifying aura spread out and shrouded a large area. A moment later, the figure of the old man who was skilled in the law of space was also enveloped by this aura. Control. At this moment, Duan Lingtian's eyes narrowed as he unleashed the way of control without holding back. Together with the law of space that illuminated a million miles, he instantly controlled the surrounding space. By disrupting space, you will be closely linked to this space. It won't be that easy for you to leave. Duan Lingtian sneered. Then, he controlled the old man who was well-versed in the law of space. The space energy around the old man turned into a cage that he could use to bind the old man. In the next instant, the old man's body froze in place. At the same time, he discovered that his interference with the surrounding space was also cut off by the surrounding space power. He could no longer affect Duan Lingtian's teleportation. How could this be? His way of control has reached the point where he can illuminate a million miles of the law of space. The old man's facial expression changed drastically. The information was wrong. Duan Lingtian's way of control was not as weak as the rumors said. Oh my god. However, he had never heard of anyone in the medium ultimate god realm who could control the power of law within a million miles, let alone a lower ultimate god. Was Duan Lingtian still human? No. When the old man saw that Duan Lingtian had cut off the power of law around him and imprisoned him, he was not in a hurry to leave. Instead, he was charging a rainbow sword light at him. At the same time, he panicked and shouted to the other three, "Save me! Save me!" However, although the three of them had charged down together and their speed was not slow, there was still a certain distance between them. They were not as close as Duan Lingtian and their companion. Due to this reason, Duan Lingtian was the first to approach their companion. And this was something that they had never expected. He did not expect Duan Lingtian would actually dare to take the initiative to attack him at this moment. Whoosh! As a result, before they could get close to Duan Lingtian had already reached their companion, the old man named Yang Chun. His sword pierced through the air and pierced into Yang Chun's body. Immediately, thousands of rainbow sword lights erupted. At that moment, their facial expressions changed drastically. They did not even have time to admire the dazzling sword lights as they used all their strength to attack Duan Lingtian. Die! Kill him! At that moment, the three of them did not expect Duan Lingtian to have the guts to attack them instead of running away. After all, there were 4 of them. Moreover, the four of them were the best among the intermediate ultimate gods. What they did not expect was Duan Ling Tian to kill one of their companions right under their noses. At that moment, Duan Lingtian's eyes were cold and filled with killing intent as he faced the three of them attacking him together. However, he did not attack the three of them in the next moment. Instead, he chose to teleport away. It was not that he could not defeat the three of them. If it was before the beginning of the Chaos region, he would definitely lose if he faced the three of them head-on. However, the current him was not afraid of the three of them if they were to fight. However, it was unrealistic for him to defeat the three of them in a short period of time. In his opinion, once he was in a stalemate with the three of them, there would be a commotion and more people would rush over. If that really happened, some powerful high-level ultimate gods would show up and it would be harder for him to escape than to ascend to the heavens. Not every time, there would be someone to save him. The last time, he was lucky enough to escape with his life because Ning Yishuan had intervened. With that lesson in mind, he would not easily put himself in danger again. Duan Ling Tian teleported away and disappeared on the spot. He then teleported a second time and escaped far away. During the process, some of the restrictive formations set up by the intermediate ultimate gods outside the Grand Canyon were shattered by Jian Wushuang's Tao of control and spatial energy. The process was as easy as crushing dry weeds and breaking rotten wood. The formations set up by the opponents also existed in name only. His Tao of control could even break the power of law that illuminated 1,000,000 miles, let alone a formation set up by a few intermediate ultimate gods. Go after him. The three of them who had failed to attack together were shocked when they saw Duan Ling Tian teleporting away. Originally, they thought that even if their companion died, the space disturbed by their companion would not calm down so quickly and Duan Ling Tian would not be able to teleport away in a short period of time. They did not expect Duan Ling Tian to teleport away the moment their companion died. Who could tell them what was going on? Of course, they did not have the time to delve into this. Their divine consciousness quickly locked onto the location of Duan Ling Tian who had teleported away a second time. Although the second teleportation had crossed a long distance, they could still lock onto Duan Ling Tian's location. They immediately chased after him. We must catch up with him quickly. Otherwise, he will disappear in front of us soon. This is such a good opportunity. Don't let him escape. The three of them were desperately chasing after Duan Ling Tian. They were now completely sure of Duan Ling Tian's identity after seeing Duan Ling Tian appear. Since they had confirmed his identity, they naturally had to stop him at all costs. Still want to chase after me? Duan Ling Tian smirked after noticing the movements of the three people behind him. If I wasn't worried about more people surrounding me, I wouldn't be afraid of you. As Duan Ling Tian continued to flee, a huge shadow rose above the canyon where he was originally resting and then let out a cry of unwillingness before crashing to the ground. However, his cry of unwillingness was different from that of an ordinary person dying. Instead, it directly called out a name. Duan Ling Tian. In the dimensional battlefield, the people who were killed were usually strangers who did not know each other. After dying, they would naturally cry out in grief and would not call each other by name because they did not know each other at all. However, the medium ultimate god who was killed by Duan Ling Tian just now recognized Duan Ling Tian. In addition, when he was killed by Duan Ling Tian, he was so desperate that he directly called out Duan Ling Tian's name after his death. Duan Ling Tian, who was originally calmly fleeing, heard the voice behind him and his originally calm expression instantly collapsed. His expression changed drastically. Damn it. He actually called out my name. This was also something that Duan Ling Tian had never expected. His opponent actually called out his name. It had to be known that even in the past, some people knew his name. However, after he killed them, very few people called out his name. There had been before, but because there were only a few people, Duan Ling Tian did not take it seriously. However, he did not expect that today, under such circumstances, his opponent would actually call out his name after being killed by him. As for the three people who were chasing after Duan Ling Tian, their expressions changed drastically when they heard the heaven and earth vision call out Duan Ling Tian's name after their comrade's death. This meant that many people would know that their comrade was killed by Duan Ling Tian. Then, in the shortest time possible, a group of experts would gather here. Even there and Duan Lingtian's whereabouts could be tracked by some experts. We must catch up to him and kill him as soon as possible. It'll be too late if we're too late. We can't let him die in the hands of others. Even if he dies in the hands of others, we can still take credit for discovering him. However, this credit is not as great as killing him with our own hands. The three medium ultimate gods gritted their teeth and continued to chase after Duan Lingtian. At the same time, a large group of experts in the surrounding area raised their heads and looked at the place where the heaven and earth vision of the fallen medium ultimate god appeared. Duan Lingtian. When the sorrowful roar spread, their eyes instantly lit up. Then, one by one, figures flew in that direction. Chapter 43:15. Duan Lingtian has shown up? It must be. The heaven and earth phenomenon of a lesser ultimate god's death appeared over there. Moreover, when the lesser ultimate god died, he called out Duan Lingtian's name. It's very likely he was killed by Duan Lingtian. Let's go and have a look. I thought it would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. I didn't expect Duan Lingtian to show up nearby. God is helping me. There were intermediate ultimate gods and senior ultimate gods among them. Soon enough, they arrived at the Grand Canyon where Duan Lingtian had entered closed-door cultivation. Of course, now, the Grand Canyon no longer existed. Only a ruined valley remained. Vaguely, one could see traces of energy sweeping through the valley. There were even some places that were emitting hot smoke. Heat waves permeated the air. Obviously, a great battle had just taken place. Over there, a upper ultimate god looked around for a while. His eyes narrowed and he quickly rushed in a direction. Almost in the next moment, a few other high-level ultimate gods seemed to have noticed something and chased after him. Bush, 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 bush. One figure after another moved at an incomparably fast speed like a ghost. Now, these people seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. Little junior brother. Now, Yang Yuchen was also in this group. He did not know if he should be glad that he was lucky or feel that his little junior brother was unlucky. He was glad that he was close to his little junior brother. At the critical moment, he might be able to lend a helping hand. On the other hand, he felt that his little junior brother was unlucky because there was a group of experts chasing after his little junior brother and confirmed that his little junior brother was nearby. There are so many of them and many of them are outstanding upper ultimate gods. Even I don't have the confidence to save little junior brother when he's surrounded. If only elder senior sister was here. Now, Yang Yuchen suddenly felt that he missed his elder senior sister. If she was here, even if his little junior brother was in danger, she could still protect him. Duan Lingtian did not notice that there was a group of people chasing after him. However, it was not difficult to guess that there would be more people chasing after him. The three mid-level ultimate gods behind him were also chasing after him. Even though he chose to teleport away as soon as he could, they still managed to catch up with him. The three of them were outstanding medium ultimate gods with great strength. Coupled with their strong willpower, there was nothing he could do. If there's really no other way, this is the only way. Actually, it was not that Duan Lingtian was unable to escape, but he had to pay a price to do so. Although it would not cause him to be injured, it would still affect him to a certain extent. Although the death of a law avatar was not a big deal, it would still affect him. But it would not affect him in the end. In addition, it would take time to create a law avatar. If it was not necessary, Duan Lingtian would not easily give up one of his law clones. I'll leave it to Lingtian. In the past, Duan Lingtian had deliberately cultivated the law of earth for a period of time. After coming to the plains of gods and accumulating many opportunities, his law of earth had improved significantly. Of course, his current law of earth was far inferior to the law of earth that some lower-rank divine emperors were proficient in. At this moment, Duan Lingtian knew he had no other choice. This was the only way he could temporarily escape the three people's sight and ensure his safety. That's it. In the end, Duan Lingtian left a law avatar behind as he teleported away. It was his law avatar of earth. As Duan Lingtian had used a little control technique before teleporting away, the The three people chasing after him did not notice the fluctuation of the law of Earth when Duan Lingtian teleported away. When they saw Duan Lingtian's law avatar of Earth not teleporting away when it was supposed to, although they were a little puzzled, they thought Duan Lingtian was exhausted. After all, in their eyes, Duan Lingtian was just an ultimate god who had just entered the ultimate god realm. Such an existence could not be compared to them in terms of endurance. We've caught up. Kill him. Activate the floating image pearl and record a floating image mirror image. The three people made their moves. One of them even took out a floating image pearl and began recording a floating image mirror image. He wanted to record the scene of the three of them killing Duan Lingtian. However, at this moment, Duan Lingtian suddenly burrowed into the ground and disappeared before their eyes. Seeing this, one of the three people sneered. "You dare to play with the law of Earth in front of me? You're digging your own grave." In the next moment, the person burrowed into the ground at an even faster speed. Before the other two people could dig a hole to follow him, the ground shook and a figure appeared. It was their companion. Before they could ask any questions, one of their companions cried out with an unsightly expression on his face, "That's just Duan Lingtian's clone from the law of Earth. His original body has escaped." As soon as he finished speaking, he stepped into the air and looked around. He spread his consciousness and soon discovered that he could not find Duan Lingtian at all. As for the other two people, their expressions changed completely when they heard his words. After following him into the air and probing with their spiritual awareness, their expressions turned extremely ugly. Duan Lingtian had escaped. He had escaped right under their noses. Chase in any direction. If we can't catch up, there's nothing we can do. The old man in the lead had an ugly expression. He had never expected this outcome. He also did not expect himself to be so careless that he could not even distinguish the other party's law of Earth avatar. "That's all we can do." The other two people's expressions were also very ugly. However, they also knew that this was the only thing they could do. As for splitting up to look for Duan Lingtian, that was impossible. If the three of them were not together, even if they were paired up with another person, they were not confident that they could deal with Duan Lingtian. In the past, they had only heard of Duan Lingtian's strength. However, they had witnessed with their own eyes how Duan Lingtian had killed their companion. They deeply understood how terrifying Duan Lingtian was. If the three of them had not teamed up, they would definitely not be a match for Duan Lingtian. The three of them chased in the same direction for a long time but did not discover anything. In the end, they could only choose to give up. Damn it. He actually escaped. The old man in the lead had an ugly expression on his face. "I can't accept this." The middle-aged man among the three people had a grim expression. "Yang Chun died just like that? Then, we couldn't even catch up with him." The last old man who was skilled in the law of Earth was clearly agitated at this moment. This was because Yang Chun, who had been killed, was his cousin, the biological son of his biological father's biological sister. He had watched Yang Chun grow up from a young age. However, he did not expect that Yang Chun would die in the upgraded version of the Chaos region after supporting each other all the way until today. "I think that since we can't catch up to him, why don't we tell the others where he got lost? Let them split up and chase after him. We might be able to catch up to him and kill him." In the end, the old man who was skilled in the law of Earth made a suggestion with a grim expression. His suggestion was quickly followed by the other two people. To them, although this matter seemed to be harming others without benefiting themselves, it could not be said that it was completely harming others without benefiting themselves. At the very least, if Duan Lingtian was killed because of this, they would feel better in their hearts. "Duan Lingtian got lost here. Everyone, if you want to find him, let's split up." "Everyone, there were originally 4 of us, but one of our companions died at the hands of Duan Lingtian. We followed him all the way here, but he used a law clone to pretend to be his true body and escaped. Everyone, that Duan Lingtian is slightly stronger than the rumors say. If you're too weak, it's best not to chase after him to avoid being killed by him." Since the 3 of them had lost Duan Lingtian, they returned to the place where they had lost Duan Lingtian. Whenever they saw people chasing after Duan Lingtian, they would tell them about how they had lost Duan Lingtian. "Everyone, When Duan Lingtian's third senior brother, Yang Yuchen, arrived with the crowd, the three of them were still talking about the same thing. When Yang Yuchen heard this, a cold light flashed in his eyes when he saw many people flying in the other three directions. He was not in a hurry to leave. Instead, he sneered. "Why should we believe you? Who knows, it might be you who imprisoned Duan Lingtian. You purposely lured us away. With your strength, even if you join forces, it won't be easy to kill Duan Lingtian. Who knows, you might have used some tricks to temporarily imprison him and wait for us to leave before you deal with him." The expressions of the three people changed when they heard Yang Yuchen's words. The rest of the people present immediately stared coldly at the three of them like tigers watching their prey. It was not impossible. Perhaps you're worried that Duan Lingtian will break out of your imprisonment and be discovered by us if we continue to stay in this area? Everyone, I think we should look around the area and see if we can find any clues. If we really can't find anything, it won't be too late to split up and look for Duan Lingtian, Yang Yuchen suggested. His suggestion also received the approval of the group of people. As for the three middle-level ultimate gods who had lost Duan Lingtian, their expressions turned even uglier. They did not expect to be doubted by these people even though they had the intention to help them. For a moment, they looked at Yang Yuchen's back as he searched around the area. Their gazes were extremely unfriendly. Soon, more people arrived one after another. As for these people, after hearing the news and hearing what Yang Yuchen had said earlier, some of them left, while the remaining people stayed in the vicinity to search for him. "Senior brother Lei, he's alone. He's leaving." The middle-aged man among the three quickly saw that the young man in white who had been looking for trouble earlier was preparing to leave. He was obviously alone. Moreover, they were only middle-level ultimate gods. "This kid. I'll stay here and continue to tell the people who come here about Duan Lingtian's escape. The two of you, follow him and kill this kid in white. Since he wants to die, we'll fulfill his wish." Chapter 43:16. Yang Yuchen took a step forward and left. Behind him, the old mid-level ultimate god who was proficient in the law of earth and the middle-aged man followed suit. They did not try to hide their movements at all. Yang Yuchen, who was in front of them, suddenly sensed something and turned around to look at them. His expression changed abruptly. Then he quickly ran away. Seeing Yang Yuchen's movements, the two men who caught up with him sneered and their eyes revealed traces of cold murderous intent. "He's so slow. With his strength, any one of us can easily kill him." The middle-aged man sneered. "Let's join forces and kill him as soon as possible. Then we'll return to senior brother Lei and tell the others about Duan Lingtian." The old man stared at the fleeing young man in white with a cruel smile on his face. Moments later, the two men moved and quickly caught up with the young man in white in front of them and blocked his path. "Boy, you can't escape. With just this level of strength, you want to escape from under the eyes of us two senior brothers? Dream on. You dare to delay us with your strength? You're digging your own grave." At that moment, the two men who blocked Yang Yuchen were looking at him with a mocking expression. In their opinion, he would be a dead man in the next moment. Before they died, they all wanted to properly enjoy the expression of despair on their faces. They wanted to let him know that sometimes, being nosy would not end well. How dare you be nosy when you're weak? If there's an afterlife, remember not to be so stupid. The middle-aged man who blocked Yang Yuchen's path spoke again as his divine power raged. He was obviously ready to attack Yang Yuchen. Although the young man in white in front of them was a mid-level ultimate god and his cultivation was higher than Duan Lingtian who was only a lower-level ultimate god. However, the two men who were not confident in defeating Duan Lingtian did not think that they could not defeat a mid-level ultimate god. He was just an ordinary mid-level ultimate god. Just by looking at his speed earlier, he could roughly guess the other party's strength. "Boy, are you scared out of your wits?" Seeing that the young man in white didn't seem to show any signs of despair, the old man was clearly dissatisfied. In his expectations, this young man should be frightened and in despair right now. But now, it was completely different from what he had expected. What a pity! Just when the two of them thought that the white-clothed young man before them was scared silly, the white-clothed young man sighed under their gazes. Yang Yuchen sighed, shook his head and said, "Only 2 people caught up. But I'll send you on your way first. Then, I'll send your companion to accompany you on your way. Don't worry, I won't make you wait too long." As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Yuchen moved. In the next instant, the power of law illuminated 1,000,000 miles, and the heaven and earth phenomenon spread out. At this moment, the expressions of the 2 people surrounding Yang Yuchen changed greatly. At the same time, they realized that when Yang Yuchen had fled just now, he had concealed his strength. Otherwise, a medium-level ultimate god who had comprehended the power of law to the point of illuminating 1,000,000 miles would not be so slow. "You actually hid your strength. Humph. So what if you're not weaker than any of us? There's 2 of us." Although they were shocked that the white-clothed young man had concealed his strength, the 2 of them were not afraid of him at all. In their opinion, the white-clothed young man's strength was at most on par with any one of them. If the 2 of them joined forces, the white-clothed young man would definitely die. However, when they actually fought, the 2 of them realized that they were wrong, very wrong. The white-clothed young man's cultivation and power of law were on par with them. The white-clothed young man had even comprehended the way of control of the 4 heavens and earth principles. Moreover, the white-clothed young man's way of control was so terrifying that it could directly cut off their power of law, making it difficult for them to use their full strength. No, impossible. The 2 medium-level ultimate gods were completely defeated by Yang Yuchen within 3 short moves and were in imminent danger. Yang Yuchen, on the other hand, had an indifferent look on his face. The moment the 2 of them thought of escaping, he directly attacked and killed them. After killing the 2 of them, he did not stay at the same spot for long and went straight back in the direction he came from. There was only 1 person left out of the 3 of them. Even if that person was stronger, he could kill him in a short time. His current strength was considered good even among the top medium-level ultimate gods in the god-defying realm. He was not afraid of those medium-level ultimate gods who had mastered the power of law to illuminate millions of miles. This was because his way of control had recently improved by leaps and bounds due to an opportunity. No! The 2 silhouettes rose into the air, and after letting out unwilling cries, they crashed to the ground. A medium-level ultimate god has fallen. At the same time, many people near Lei Tongshan stopped and looked into the distance. Lei Tongshan was the leader of the 4 intermediate ultimate gods who discovered Duan Ling Tian's hiding place. He was just telling the passers-by about Duan Ling Tian's appearance when he suddenly heard a commotion in the distance. It seemed as though 3 rays of light from the law of heaven and earth illuminated 1,000,000 miles had appeared. Coupled with the words of the passers-by, he instinctively turned to look. This direction. At first, he did not think much of the loss of 2 medium-level ultimate gods. He thought it was not unusual for there to be a conflict with so many people around. However, when he subconsciously turned his head, his expression changed completely. This was because that was the direction his 2 juniors had gone. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. At that moment, Lei Tongshan's first thought was that it was impossible. The other party was only a medium-level ultimate god. Even if his 2 juniors were not strong enough to deal with him, they should not have been killed in such a short time. Unless the other party had a high-level ultimate god with him. Or a top-level medium-level ultimate god. Lei Tongshan took a deep breath and looked at the soul pearls that belonged to his 2 juniors in the storage ring. With just a glance, he saw that the soul pearls of his 2 juniors had shattered. His slightly calm expression changed drastically as he was comforting himself in his heart. It's really them. Lei Tongshan's expression changed drastically as soon as the thought came to his mind. At the same time, he completely regained his senses and was no longer in the mood to tell passers-by that Duan Ling Tian had escaped from them. Run! Since the other party had the ability to kill his 2 juniors, they naturally had the ability to kill him as well. Although he was stronger than his 2 juniors, he knew that he could not kill the 2 of them together. Even if his 2 juniors joined forces, they would be able to defeat him as long as they were given enough time. On the other hand, he had no chance of winning against the 2 of them together. His power of law was on par with the 2 of them. The only advantage he had was the fledgling form of sword principle. In his opinion, the other party would most likely come for him after killing his two juniors. Lei Tongshan was very fast. In the blink of an eye, he had traversed a large area of mountains and rivers. His speed was astonishing. However, even though he was fast, Yang Yuchen, who was chasing after him, was even faster. In less than 30 breaths of time, Lei Tongshan was intercepted by Yang Yuchen. As for Lei Tongshan, when he saw Yang Yuchen, his face turned extremely ugly. Earlier, when he was being chased by the other party, he had already discovered the other party. At the same time, he knew that his previous guess was wrong. There were no high-level ultimate gods around the other party. It was because the other party was a top-notch intermediate ultimate god. It was naturally very easy for such a high-level ultimate god to kill his two juniors. The power of law can also illuminate 1,000,000 miles. However, he was able to kill the two of them in such a short period of time. Moreover, his speed is so fast. He most likely has something else that's far better than mine. It's the fledgling form of sword principle. At that moment, Lei Tongshan could vaguely guess where the other party's powerful abilities came from. He just did not know the details. You're pretty fast. After Yang Yuchen appeared, he glanced at Lei Tongshan indifferently. Your Excellency. At that moment, Lei Tongshan's expression was gloomy and he began to speak humbly. I've already advised my two juniors not to cause trouble and not to provoke you. However, they refused to listen. There's nothing I can do about it. They provoked you and were killed by you. They only have themselves to blame. Your Excellency, you won't make things difficult for me since I didn't do anything to you, right? For the sake of survival, Lei Tongshan had completely put away his usual arrogance. He did not even mention that the person behind him had the backing of an ultimate powerhouse. This was because he felt that it was meaningless. If he were in the other party's shoes, he might have killed the other party immediately after hearing the other party's threats. If he killed the other party here, it would not do him any good no matter how powerful the other party's background was. Therefore, he chose to admit defeat. He did not continue to be stubborn. Now, even if the other party asked him to kneel and kowtow, he would do so as long as he could survive. After living for so many years, he naturally knew that dignity and whatnot were not important in front of his life. This was especially so when there was no third person present. If he lost face and dignity, he would only lose face and dignity in front of the other party. He could completely accept it. Tell me what happened when you met the Duan Ling Tian. Yang Yuchen heard the other party's words but did not reply. Instead, he said this in an indifferent tone. When the other party saw that Yang Yuchen did not intend to attack and instead asked about the Duan Ling Tian, he thought that Yang Yuchen wanted to further confirm the whereabouts of the Duan Ling Tian. Therefore, his expression softened a lot. At the same time, he recounted his encounter with the Duan Ling Tian in full detail. He did not hide anything. He also felt that there was no need to hide anything. If he wanted to hide something, he would have to lie. Moreover, once he lied, he would have to think of more words to cover up the lie. If the other party saw through his lie, he might be able to survive but would lose his life because he lied to the other party. Little junior brother, you're really unlucky. Yang Yuchen shook his head and sighed softly after hearing Lei Tongshan's words. Little junior brother? When Lei Tongshan heard Yang Yuchen's words, his pupils shrank instantly and his expression changed drastically. Chapter 43:17. Lei Tongshan would never have dreamed that the person in front of him was Duan Lingtian's senior brother. If he was Duan Lingtian's senior brother, he would undoubtedly be one of the two from the Institute of Myriad Jurisprudence in the Shengang land. Hong Yifeng or Yang Yuchen. Looking at the person's attire and aura, it was not difficult for him to guess his identity. Yang Yuchen. That's not right. Lei Tongshan suddenly thought of a problem. Like most people, he had a better understanding of the Institute of Myriad Jurisprudence's inner branch because of Duan Lingtian's existence. However, he remembered that Yang Yuchen's strength should be similar to his according to the rumors. The power of law that he had comprehended seemed to be weaker than the power of law within 100,000 miles. The reason why he felt that Yang Yuchen's strength was not weaker than his was because he had heard that Yang Yuchen's Tao of control was very powerful. However, when he saw Yang Yuchen's strength in person today, he realized that the strength he had heard about was probably the strength that Yang Yuchen had revealed a long time ago. Yang Yuchen's strength was definitely one of the best among the medium-level ultimate gods. Even those mid-level ultimate gods who had mastered the heaven and earth vision that illuminated millions of miles were not necessarily stronger than Yang Yuchen unless they had mastered the four heavenly Tao to a certain extent or had some other powerful trump cards. Only then would they have the ability to wrestle with Yang Yuchen. As for himself, he was too far away from Yang Yuchen. It was even to the extent that as long as Yang Yuchen wanted to, perhaps he could kill him in a short few moves. So it's Master Yang Yuchen. Lei Tongshan secretly inhaled a breath of cold air and tried to calm his agitated emotions. At the same time, he tried to stop his slightly trembling body from trembling and slightly saluted the person in front of him. Master Yang Yuchen, although my junior brothers and I had planned to kill your junior brother, we didn't succeed after all. Lei Tongshan took a deep breath and said in a slightly nervous manner, "Now, my junior brothers have been killed by you, Master Yang Yuchen. They deserve to die. I'm willing to take out my life savings to buy this lowly life of mine. What do you think?" Lei Tongshan naturally knew that Yang Yuchen hadn't chased after him to chat, but to kill him. Therefore, at this time, he did not say much nonsense, nor did he say that he did not want to kill Duan Lingtian. There was no need to, and the other party would not believe him. In that case, he might as well be more open and see if he could buy his life with money. Nothing. When Yang Yuchen rejected him, his expression turned extremely ugly in an instant. At the same time, he immediately unleashed the power he had accumulated and prepared to flee. However, even though he was fast, Yang Yuchen was even faster. In the blink of an eye, the situation was completely under Yang Yuchen's control. Even though Lei Tongshan was stronger than his three junior brothers, he was nothing in front of Yang Yuchen. In less than 3 breaths, he was on the brink of death. "Yang Yuchen, if you kill me, you'll regret it." "I'm on the brink of death." Lei Tongshan wanted to reveal his identity so that Yang Yuchen would not dare to kill him. This was also his last straw of hope. However, before he could finish, he was interrupted by Yang Yuchen. "Noisy! If I kill you here, who would know that I, Yang Yuchen, killed you?" Even if there were ultimate experts patrolling nearby and saw Yang Yuchen kill Lei Tongshan, would they be so bored as to complain to the people behind Lei Tongshan? Unless they were friends. Moreover, he did not think that Lei Tongshan had a direct connection with an ultimate expert. If he was really close to an ultimate expert, would he not have the projection jade slip given by the ultimate expert? After killing 3 people, including Lei Tongshan, Yang Yuchen did not feel any joy. Instead, his expression became even more solemn. "I hope little junior brother will be careful. Now, the people chasing after him are not just some intermediate ultimate gods, but a large number of upper ultimate gods. There are many outstanding upper ultimate gods among them. Yang Yuchen might be able to fight against an ordinary upper ultimate god. However, the best of the best among the high-level ultimate gods could kill Yang Yuchen as easily as swatting an ant." Duan Lingtan naturally did not know that the 3 intermediate ultimate gods who were chasing after him were all killed by his third senior brother, Yang Yuchen. Right now, he was fleeing into the distance. Danger. Very dangerous. That was the only thought left in his mind. In the beginning, his whereabouts were only discovered by 4 intermediate ultimate gods. However, after he killed one of the intermediate ultimate gods and that intermediate ultimate god said his name, a large number of people knew that he was nearby. Therefore, the only thing he needed to do now was to get as far away from this area as possible. At the same time, Duan Lingtian also hoped that the secret realm of 10 people that he had previously opened would open soon. Then, he could enter the secret realm to seek refuge. After being teleported out of the secret realm, there was a high probability that he would not appear in this area again. After being teleported out of the secret realm, he would be randomly teleported to any corner of the upgraded Chaos Territory. The upgraded Chaos Territory was not that big, but it was not small either. It's best not to fly. It's good to move forward stealthily like this. Duan Lingtian moved nimbly as he crossed the mountains. At the same time, he evaded many people who were patrolling in the air. A large number of people spread out their divine consciousness, but Duan Lingtian narrowly avoided them. There are more and more people. During this process, Duan Lingtian also noticed that more people were searching for him. As time passed, more and more people knew that he was in this area. Under such circumstances, his situation was getting more and more dangerous. After so many days of fleeing, coupled with the fact that he had not fully recovered from his exhaustion, Duan Lingtian felt mentally exhausted. If he had to fight again, perhaps the 4 intermediate ultimate gods from before would be enough to kill him. "There's someone over there." Suddenly, a cry of surprise sounded out by Duan Lingtian's ears. Although he's not wearing violet clothes, but looking at him acting suspiciously, he might be Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian was indeed not wearing purple, but he did not disguise his appearance. If he did, it would be seen as a guilty conscience and even more eye-catching. Since he had just entered the ultimate god realm, any ultimate god realm existence would be able to recognize him with a sweep of their divine consciousness. Moreover, Duan Lingtian had recently discovered a problem. That was, the ultimate gods in the nearby area would directly sweep people with their divine consciousness and did not care if they would offend them. After all, it was impolite. However, during this period, not only were those people not annoyed by the other party's probing, they even did as the Romans did. These people looked at each other and got along with each other naturally as if everything was understood without words. I didn't expect these guys to not mind probing each other in order to find me. They even see it as a tacit agreement. Under such circumstances, Duan Lingtian felt even more threatened. The tallest tree in the forest would be destroyed by the wind. The bird that pokes its head out will be shot. This time, Duan Lingtian really understood the meaning of those words. It seems that I've been too high profile. However, if I hadn't been high profile, I wouldn't have the strength I have today. Although Duan Lingtian realized that he had been rather high profile all this time, he did not regret it at all. Otherwise, his strength would not have improved so quickly. Although he was only a beginner ultimate god, he was confident that he could kill most intermediate ultimate gods. Jian Wushuang would not be afraid even if it was just one of those top mid-level ultimate gods who stood at the top of the pyramid of mid-level ultimate gods. Even if he could not defeat or kill his opponent would still want to defeat or kill him. Currently, he had not consolidated his cultivation base as a lower ultimate god. Now, there's still a long way to go before I can consolidate my cultivation base. I only hope that the next few secret areas will allow me to consolidate my cultivation base as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'm afraid there won't be a place for me in the upgraded chaos territory. Although Duan Lingtian knew that he would become a thorn in many people's side after knowing that the overall ranking list in the upgraded chaos territory had been opened, it was not difficult for him to guess. However, he did not expect the reality to be even more exaggerated than he imagined. These people don't even need to accumulate battle merits and chaos points? Or do they think they have no hope of getting into the overall ranking list, so they're just taking pleasure in hunting me down? Recently, Duan Lingtian was a little speechless when he saw so many people hunting him down. Were these people so free? What good would it do them to hunt him down? He did not think that these people had friends or relatives who could get into the top 3 of the overall ranking list. There were only 3 people in the top 3 of the overall ranking list. Currently, Duan Lingtian did not know that in the upgraded chaos territory, there were already many bounty missions for him. As long as one took out the recording of his death, they would be able to receive the huge rewards of the bounty missions. Moreover, these bounty missions stated that even if one received the rewards of other people's bounty missions, they would still be able to receive their rewards. In other words, as long as one killed Duan Lingtian, they would be able to receive the rewards of multiple bounty missions. Moreover, the number of bounty missions was still increasing. Kill Duan Lingtian. Record the recording of his death. At that time, you can use the floating image pearl to receive the bounty reward. Kill Duan Lingtian and you will receive a jade slip with the projection of the ultimate powerhouse's true body. Outside the dimensional battlefield, the ultimate powerhouse will fight for you once. Kill Duan Lingtian and record the recording of the floating image pearl. As long as you confirm that the recording is not fake, you will be able to receive the bounty reward. Kill Duan Lingtian and you will receive 3 embryos of ultimate divine artifacts. Kill Duan Lingtian. One bounty after another appeared in the various military camps in the upgraded Chaos territory. Moreover, the people who issued the bounty were, without exception, members of the godly venerable level forces of the various planes of gods. There were also a few descendants of ultimate powerhouses who were wandering cultivators. Chapter 43:18. Even Duan Lingtian himself did not know how valuable he was now. Bounties appeared in various military camps in the upgraded Chaos realm. At first, the bounties were only offered in secret, but as time passed, they were gradually put on the table. More and more bounties were being offered. Oh my God! The bounties have increased again. Duan Lingtian is really a treasure now. He is indeed a treasure. Now, what's more tempting than killing him? No matter who it is, as long as they kill him and leave behind a scryer image mirror image, they will be able to receive a huge bounty. Not just one bounty, but all of the bounties. Now, there are even people saying that the loot obtained from killing Duan Lingtian is even more exaggerated than the loot obtained from killing a supreme powerhouse. It's a pity that I don't have the ability to kill him. Otherwise, I would definitely be like those people and search for his whereabouts everywhere. It's fine if you don't have the ability to kill him. Now, many people have spread the word that as long as they can provide them with the exact whereabouts of Duan Lingtian and successfully use the clues to kill Duan Lingtian, they will be rewarded with 1/10 of the bounty reward. 1/10? That's not a small amount. Who knows? The value of the reward might be even higher than the reward for the 3rd place on the same realm list. In terms of value, that should be the case. However, the reward for the same realm list is the God's Accumulation Spring. The God's Accumulation Spring is a priceless treasure. This is something that the bounty reward can't compare to. Discussions about the bounty on Duan Lingtian were everywhere in the various military camps because the bounty on Duan Lingtian was still increasing. It was as if everyone in the world wanted Duan Lingtian's life. Duan Lingtian. Ning Yixuan had been working hard for the medium ultimate god ranking list during this period of time and usually stayed in the secret realm. He would only leave the secret realm occasionally and wait for the next secret realm to open before going to the nearby military camp to rest. This time, he came to the military camp and found out that there was a bounty for Duan Lingtian and that it was offered by many parties. Although he had already guessed that Duan Lingtian would become the target of public criticism after the overall list was released, he did not expect so many people and forces to offer a bounty for Duan Lingtian. In order to kill Duan Lingtian, each and every one of them generously offered a sky-high reward. Although Ning Yixuan was born in the Sanctionland's giant ultimate god clan and was valued by an ultimate expert ancestor, he was still shocked when he found out about the bounty for Duan Lingtian. There are so many people who have put a bounty on Duan Lingtian. There's no lack of ultimate gods among them. That's true. If they didn't have the approval of an ultimate expert, how would they dare to be so brazen? However, don't those ultimate experts who are committed to the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm care about these ultimate experts messing around? Or, don't they think this is messing around? One ultimate expert after another supported the bounty behind them. This matter naturally caused the dissatisfaction of many ultimate experts. These ultimate experts either hoped that more geniuses would appear in the god-defying realm or thought highly of Duan Lingtian. They were all dissatisfied that other ultimate experts were targeting geniuses like Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian is definitely a genius. Targeting him like this, once he dies, it will definitely be a great loss for the god-defying realm. Isn't this not very good? The existence of the dimensional battlefield is to unearth geniuses. Geniuses like Duan Lingtian were unearthed in this way. As soon as the overall ranking was released, all the giant ultimate god forces issued bounties. Is this really fair to him? The divine corporeal spring, the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm, and even the overall ranking of the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm were all obtained by that person and proposed by that person. Did that person tacitly agree to all of this? While the group of ultimate experts was puzzled and confused, In the same pavilion on the clouds that seemed to be floating in the endless void, a young man in white stood with his hands behind his back, looking at the endless void. No one knew what he was thinking. At some point, a middle-aged figure appeared behind the young man. "Are you really not going to interfere?" "Interfere?" Hearing the middle-aged man's question, the young man smiled faintly. "Interfere with what?" In the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm, the bounty on Duan Lingtian is no longer a competition between geniuses. This has risen to a competition between the giant ultimate god forces and Duan Lingtian. The middle-aged man said in a deep voice, "It's impossible to say that without their approval, it's absolutely impossible. Sir, since you think highly of Duan Lingtian, there's no need to push him into a fire pit like this, right? His chances of survival are very, very low if he were to fight against the ultimate gods who are backed by the ultimate gods. As far as I know, not long ago in the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm, he was almost killed because his whereabouts were exposed. This time, the young man in white interrupted the middle-aged man before he could finish his words. What are you trying to say?" The white-clad young man said indifferently, "Do you think I should intervene and warn them to ask the forces behind them to remove the bounty on Duan Lingtian? Shouldn't you?" The middle-aged man said, "No matter what, Duan Lingtian is only a lower ultimate god. He hasn't even consolidated his cultivation base. Facing a group of intermediate ultimate gods and upper ultimate gods who are like wolves and tigers, it's harder for him to survive in the cracks than to reach the heavens. Don't tell me you think he'll be able to successfully break through under such circumstances?" The middle-aged man asked. "What do I think?" The young man in white smiled. "Why should I think? What does he have to do with me? I advocated for the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm and the opening of the overall ranking. Don't tell me it's all to target him? If he doesn't have the confidence to survive, can't he just find a military camp and teleport out of the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm? As long as he leaves the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm, who would target him? With his current gains, even if he leaves the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm, it shouldn't be a problem for him to be in the top 3 of the same level ranking. It's just that there's no hope for him to be in the overall ranking. In such a situation where he can advance and retreat, if he overestimates himself and is killed for the reward of the overall ranking, don't tell me he's too greedy? If he really dies because of this, no matter how talented he is, no matter how great his achievements are in the future, can he survive when he goes to the outside world? If he can't survive, no matter how monstrous he is, how can he protect the god-defying realm? The young man in white's tone seemed a little indifferent as he spoke. "I know you value that little guy, but your concern is a little too much." The young man in white said faintly, "You're also an old man who has fought all the way here. Can't you see through this? I know you cherish talents, but you have to remember that no matter how talented he is, if he's a reckless person, even if he can become a supreme expert in the god-defying realm, he won't live long out of the god-defying realm. The god-defying realm doesn't lack mediocre supreme experts, nor does it lack those reckless supreme experts who don't know when to advance or retreat. Go. In the future, don't come to me because of this. Just take it that I've acquiesced in their actions. It takes 2 hands to clap. If he doesn't want to die, just leave the upgraded version of the Chaos Territory." The young man in white's tone was obviously a little unhappy and impatient as he spoke. "Sir, I understand." The middle-aged man did not say anything after hearing the young man's words. At the same time, he realized that he had cherished talents too much. He had completely forgotten that Duan Lingtian could leave at any time. If he did not leave, it was either he was trying to be brave or he was confident. If it was the former, even if he died, it would not be a pity. Forget about him. Whether he lives or dies, it's up to him. The middle-aged man thought to himself. At this moment, Duan Lingtian still did not know that although he was only a lower ultimate god and the kind who had just entered the ultimate god realm not long ago, he had attracted the attention of many supreme experts. He also did not know that there were supreme experts who had specially gone to great lengths for him. Currently, after Duan Lingtian had been running around cautiously for a period of time, he was still discovered and targeted by someone. Three medium ultimate gods had their eyes on Duan Lingtian. However, they only followed Duan Lingtian from afar and did not make a move. Obviously, they were afraid of Duan Lingtian's strength. Not making a move. Are they waiting for something? It seems that there might be a higher ultimate god behind me. After realizing that the few tails behind him were still following him, Duan Lingtian could not help but feel a little puzzled. Among the three, one of them was an expert in the law of wind. Moreover, his law of wind had reached the point where his law of wind could illuminate 1,000,000 miles. Even if he could teleport, he could not escape from the other party's surveillance. If the other party wanted to, they could catch up with him at any time. After crossing the big canyon in front, if they are still following me, I will think of a way to kill the other two. The other two are not experts in the law of wind. If I kill them, they won't be able to escape. A cold light flashed in his eyes. After crossing the big canyon in front of him, he realized that the three people were still following him. He did not continue forward. Although he used teleportation, he did not teleport forward. Instead, he teleported to the back. Be careful. As for the three medium ultimate gods who were following Duan Lingtian, their expressions changed when Duan Lingtian teleported closer to them. The medium ultimate god who was an expert in the law of wind was the first to move aside, and at the same time, he warned his two companions loudly. Of his two companions, one of them was an expert in the law of earth. The yellow energy on his body vibrated and formed a defense. At the same time, he also retreated a little. As for the other person, his body was covered in a watery light. The sparkling energy was like a torrential downpour. It swept across with a loud bang as if it had formed a huge wave in an instant. The two of them chose to attack while retreating. Although they were the best of the best among the medium ultimate gods, they dared not underestimate the lower ultimate god in front of them. Chapter 43:19. Trying to escape? It's too late. Duan Lingtian sneered when he saw the two of them retreating. The negative emotions that he had been suppressing for days exploded at that moment. During this period of time, he felt like a rat on the street that everyone wanted to beat up. Although he did not think he had done anything wrong, a group of people wanted to make things difficult for him. Duan Lingtian did not dare to enter a military camp for fear of being ambushed. Otherwise, he would have known the reason why a group of people was targeting him. As soon as Duan Lingtian made his move, the 7 orifices exquisite sword shot out. The energy from the law of space, the Tao of control, and the Tao of sword shot out like a shadow. The two medium ultimate gods who did not want to fight Duan Lingtian head-on and chose to retreat were shocked when they saw their attacks were easily crushed by Duan Lingtian. He's so strong. At that moment, they realized that Duan Lingtian's strength was even more exaggerated than the rumors. The strength. He's comparable to a top medium ultimate god who can kill a high-level ultimate god, right? Both of their expressions changed at the same time. In the next moment, both of them shouted in unison, "Feng He, attack!" Feng He was their other companion who specialized in the law of wind. It was because of him that they were able to follow Duan Lingtian closely. Otherwise, they would have been left behind by Duan Lingtian long ago. They were only medium ultimate gods who specialized in the law of water and the law of earth. At the same time, Feng He, the medium ultimate god who specialized in the law of wind, stood in the distance with his expression changing again and again. However, when he saw his two companions' attacks being crushed by Duan Lingtian in the blink of an eye, he also personally witnessed Duan Lingtian's terrifying strength. At that moment, his intuition told him that he could not go over. If he went over, he would most likely die. Duan Lingtian is here. At the critical moment, he watched as Duan Lingtian continued to attack his two companions after crushing their attacks. As he fled into the distance, he let out an earth-shattering roar. Duan Lingtian was here. This voice shook the heavens and the earth, and it spread to an extremely wide area. Feng He thought to himself as he fled, "This is the last thing I can do for you. I hope you won't blame me." He knew that with the strength that Duan Lingtian had just displayed, not to mention his two companions, even if he joined forces, they would still be no match for him. Even if he was proficient in the laws of wind, it would still be difficult for him to escape from Duan Lingtian. The laws of space were infinitely mysterious. Once he was imprisoned, it would be useless no matter how fast he was. Fang He. When they heard Fang He's shout getting further and further away, the expressions of his two companions changed greatly. They could guess what Fang He was thinking. At that moment, they hurriedly dealt with Duan Lingtian's attack while cursing Fang He's entire family in their hearts. However, in the blink of an eye, they no longer had the mood to curse Fang He's entire family. This was because Duan Lingtian had given them too much pressure. In the blink of an eye, they felt as though their bones were about to fall apart. How can he be so strong? He's just a lower ultimate god who has just entered the ultimate god realm. How can he have such terrifying combat strength? At that moment, the two of them felt that Duan Lingtian's combat strength was terrifying. It made them tremble from the bottom of their hearts and souls. It was too terrifying. Before that day, they would never have imagined that a lower ultimate god's strength could reach such a level. No, a blood-curdling scream was heard. It was the mid-level ultimate god who was proficient in the laws of water. Duan Lingtian shattered his attack first before a rainbow sword light followed like a shadow and directly penetrated his body. In the next moment, thousands of sword lights broke out of his body and killed the mid-level ultimate god who was still alive and kicking a moment ago. The rolling waves that filled the sky gradually dissipated and disappeared without a trace. The other mid-level ultimate god who was proficient in the laws of earth was currently strengthening his defense with an ugly look on his face. He was proficient in the laws of earth, and the laws of earth were widely recognized as the #1 defensive law. Although the defensive layer he formed was continuously being worn down by Duan Lingtian, he still held on to the hope that as long as someone arrived in time, Duan Lingtian might not have the chance to kill him. At that time, Duan Lingtian would not be able to protect himself. Those who came later would most likely not attack him because there was no need for them to do so. Your skin is really thick. Duan Lingtian sneered. Are you thinking that you can escape by defending yourself before a group of people swarm over? You're very smart. However, if I really want to kill you, I'm afraid your defense will be useless. As soon as he finished speaking, Duan Lingtian's eyes turned cold. In the next moment, his small world opened up and a tree branch quickly extended out and pierced towards the mid-level ultimate god in front of Duan Lingtian who was defending himself with all his might. This tree branch looked ordinary, but the life aura surrounding it was extremely dense. After the tree branch came out, it met the mid-level ultimate god's defense and easily pierced through it before piercing its way through. Sacred Tree of Life. The mid-level ultimate god who was proficient in the laws of earth originally thought he could escape, but his expression changed when he saw his defense being broken in an instant. The Sacred Tree of Life. It was the absolute nemesis of people like them who had yet to reach the perfected realm of the laws of earth. The Sacred Tree of Life was a divine object that was born from the soil and was the favored child of heaven and earth. Before those who were proficient in the laws of earth mastered the perfected realm of the laws of earth, the Sacred Tree of Life could easily ignore the laws of earth. Attacks formed by those who had yet to reach the perfected realm of the laws of earth were ineffective against them. Defenses formed by those who had yet to reach the perfected realm of the laws of earth could be ignored. At that moment, Duan Lingtian opened up his small world and the Sacred Tree of Life's branch extended out. It did not even need to expend much energy to break through his defense. To be precise, it opened a hole in his defense, a hole that he could not repair even if he wanted to. His laws of earth were still a distance away from the Sacred Tree of Life's branch before it was blocked. It could be said that the Sacred Tree of Life was the absolute nemesis of people like him who were proficient in the laws of earth. No, at that moment, the mid-level ultimate god who was proficient in the laws of earth had a look of despair in his eyes. He never dreamed that Duan Lingtian had the Sacred Tree of Life as a backup. If he had known, he would not have taken the risk to follow Duan Lingtian. He and his two companions followed Duan Lingtian because they wanted to see if they could follow Duan Lingtian all the way to the vicinity of a military camp. Then, the three of them would enter the military camp and inform them. As long as they handed over the floating image pearl that recorded Duan Lingtian's figure and successfully killed Duan Lingtian, they would be given a portion of the bounty reward. Even if it was only a tenth of the bounty reward, it was something that they would never have dared to dream of in the past. Seeing Duan Lingtian's divine sword wrapped in rainbow light closely following the hole in the sacred tree of life's trunk to kill him, there was only despair in his eyes. If he had known that Duan Lingtian's small world had a divine object like the sacred tree of life that could restrain the laws of earth, he would not have taken the risk to follow Duan Lingtian even if he had 100 times the courage. Bush, 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 bush. At the same time as the thousands of rainbow sword rays rose into the sky, the second shadow rose into the sky and let out an unwilling cry. However, it was not shouting Duan Lingtian's name, but the sacred tree of life. As for his companion, the middle-level ultimate god who was skilled in the laws of water that was killed by Duan Lingtian, he did not call out Duan Lingtian's name. He only called out unwillingly, "Consider yourself unlucky to have met me." Duan Lingtian glanced indifferently at the place where the person behind him died and then teleported away from the scene twice in a row. At that moment, although he had not discovered anything, it was not difficult to guess that there must be many people coming this way. If he did not run now, he might not be able to. As for the middle-level ultimate god who was skilled in the laws of wind, Duan Lingtian did not plan to chase after him. Not to mention that it was basically impossible to catch up to him. Even if he could, he would not chase after him unless he had a death wish. What he needed to do now was to go to a safe place. Then he would sit and wait for the next secret realm to open. Once the next secret realm opened, it would mean that he was temporarily safe. Not long after Duan Lingtian left, a few figures came to the scene first. They were all high-level ultimate gods who came alone. The divine power on their bodies vibrated and the power of law surged into the sky. The surrounding void was shaken into a medicinal liquid. These high-level ultimate gods were the most powerful among the high-level ultimate gods. They happened to be nearby and rushed over when they heard the commotion. Duan Lingtian just appeared here? Didn't someone shout like that? There was a big battle here. 2 mid-level ultimate gods died. Is this Duan Lingtian's doing? After one of them died, he shouted, "Sacred tree of life." What does that mean? Isn't that a divine object that only exists in the small worlds of supreme experts? Could it be? Duan Lingtian has the sacred tree of life? There are remnants of the water and earth law auras here. There's also the space law and sword principle auras here. It must be Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian has the sacred tree of life? This is a shocking piece of news. This also means that those who have not perfected the law of earth could die at his hands even if they are stronger than him. Among the high-level ultimate gods, the only one who was good at the law of earth was also being watched by the others. When he saw this, his expression turned unnatural. His law of earth was only one step away from perfecting it. However, this one step could very well cause him to be killed by Duan Lingtian in the process of dealing with Duan Lingtian. The high-level ultimate god snorted coldly and turned to leave. Although he did not look too good, he knew that he could not take the risk. Although he had not encountered the sacred tree of life before becoming an supreme expert, how could an ordinary person have a sacred tree of life? Chapter 43:20. Look at the traces left behind by the law of space. He's heading that way. Go after him. The remaining high-level ultimate gods headed in another direction after the high-level ultimate god who was proficient in the law of earth left. In fact, the high-level ultimate god who was proficient in the law of earth had also noticed the direction Duan Lingtian had headed in. Because of that, he deliberately chose the opposite direction. He did not want to encounter Duan Lingtian. Before he knew that Duan Lingtian had the sacred tree of life, he had dreamt of finding Duan Lingtian and killing him. Then he would bring his scryer image to collect the reward. Although he was considered strong among the high-level ultimate gods, there were many who were stronger than him. He would never be in the top 10 of the list. Therefore, although he had been accumulating chaos points, he did not have the slightest confidence that he would be able to enter the top 10. He was just comforting himself. That was until the upgraded version of the Zone of Chaos General List was released. Various parties targeted Duan Lingtian and even issued bounties, giving him the hope of obtaining a large number of treasures. Although he was a high-level ultimate god, he was only an elder of a heavyweight faction. The treasures he could obtain were limited. In addition, he had been injured in the last millennium tribulation. He was eager to improve in a short period of time. Killing Duan Lingtian would undoubtedly give him the opportunity to obtain the treasures he needed and improve further. However, now that he knew that Duan Lingtian had the sacred tree of life, he shrank back. His life would be in danger if he pursued Duan Lingtian. It seems that I'm destined to lose my chance. The high-level supreme god sighed and left dejectedly. In a spacious canyon, a white figure was being besieged. 3 powerful mid-level ultimate gods were besieging a single mid-level ultimate god. The latter was able to handle it with ease at first, but as time passed, he began to show signs of defeat. Yang Yuchen, you're going to die today. A cold-faced young man glared at Yang Yuchen fiercely. He was obviously the leader of the 3. One of the other 2 was on par with him while the other was slightly weaker. However, he was also one of the best among the medium ultimate gods. Nangong Lun, you and I both came from the profound Handle land. We have no enmity between us, so why are you bringing people to kill me? The current Yang Yuchen was no longer as carefree as before. Instead, he appeared to be in a sorry state. In terms of one-on-one combat, the young man in front of him might not necessarily be stronger than him. Even though it would be difficult for him to defeat the young man, he would definitely be able to fight him to a draw. However, the other party had a helper who was not any weaker than him. There was also a middle-level ultimate god who was slightly weaker than them. With the 3 of them joining forces, he was no match for them. The stern-looking young man, Nangong Lun, suddenly sneered, Yang Yuchen, are you really an idiot, or are you pretending to be one? Don't you know that our Nangong family had an engagement with the Shui family in the past, but it was later cancelled? So what does that have to do with me? Yang Yuchen frowned, but an ominous premonition rose in his heart. Could it be related to that woman? If that was the case, then he was really wrong this time. He had no interest in that woman at all. It had always been that woman's wishful thinking. What does that have to do with you? Nangong Luyun sneered. Don't tell me that you don't know that the 2 parties of that engagement are me from the Nangong family and Shui Ying from the Shui family. Don't tell me that you don't know that the reason the Shui family cancelled the engagement with our Nangong family was because of Shui Ying's own initiative and because of you. At the end of his words, Nangong Liuyun's eyes were filled with fierceness. To him, Yang Yuchen had a grudge against him for stealing his wife. After listening to Nangong Liuyun's words, Yang Yuchen felt helpless. It seemed that he had guessed correctly. It really had something to do with that woman, Shuang. However, he really had no interest in that woman. In other words, he had no intention of starting a family. I really don't know. Yang Yuchen was a little helpless. Nangong Luyun, why don't, after we leave this time, I'll announce to the public that I, Yang Yuchen, will never have any romantic relationship with Shuang in my life. How about that? I can even guarantee that I won't speak to Shui Ying again if I see her in the future. No matter how shameless she is, I'll ignore her. At this moment, Yang Yuchen also felt the danger and the other party's determination to kill him. This was not a joke. Moreover, he could tell that the 3 of them had come prepared. It would be difficult for him to escape even if he wanted to. He even felt that if he really prepared to escape, he would probably die even faster. I never thought that I, Yang Yuchen, would be harmed to this extent by a woman one day. It seems that my original intention from the beginning of cultivation was right. I can't touch women. If I touch them, it'll be difficult for me to achieve great success in cultivation. Eldest senior sister is so strong. Isn't it because she didn't find a senior brother-in-law for us? Second senior brother and 4th junior sister are also. As for 3rd junior brother, he's definitely an accident. Even Yang Yuchen did not expect that in this situation where he had a slim chance of survival, so many strange thoughts and ideas would appear in his mind. Yang Yuchen, no matter what you say, it's all nonsense. You must die today. Nangong Luyun clearly did not intend to let Yang Yuchen go. Or rather, he did not take Yang Yuchen's words seriously at all. He only felt that Yang Yuchen was stalling for time. Yang Yuchen, if it wasn't for the fact that I don't want Shui Ying to know that I killed you. Otherwise, I would have recorded what you said just now and shown it to her. I would have let her see what kind of man she likes. At this moment, Yang Yuchen's expression changed once again. Nangong Liuyun's determination to kill him had exceeded his expectations. His opponent had come with the determination to kill him. Boom. Under such circumstances, Yang Yuchen no longer held any hope. The power of the law stirred, and he displayed the path of control without holding back. However, his opponent was not weak either. Two rays of the power of the law that illuminated millions of miles spread out. They belonged to Nangong Luyun and the other helper who was not any weaker than him. As for the other helper, he had also comprehended the power of the law that illuminated millions of miles. He had even mastered the devouring Tao of the heaven and earth Tao. Of course, his mastery of the devouring Tao was naturally far inferior to Yang Yuchen's path of control. Among the three helpers, he was the weakest. If he fought him alone, Yang Yuchen was confident that he could kill him within 10 moves. Boom, boom, boom. The three of them besieged one person. Yang Yuchen was in a more difficult position. The commotion on the other side was getting louder and louder as the four of them fought with all their might. It even attracted the attention of some onlookers. There was no lack of higher ultimate gods among them. How powerful! All four of them are only medium-level ultimate gods? This is too terrifying. Although I'm a higher ultimate god, I feel like I'm no match for any of them. Poor they. As more and more onlookers gathered, many higher ultimate gods realized the problem. The four intermediate ultimate gods in front of them seemed to be stronger than them. Unknowingly, a figure flew over from afar. When he arrived near the onlookers, he was surprised. Four intermediate ultimate gods fighting? Look at them, they're not weak. However, when he saw the white figure among the four people fighting in the field, his pupils suddenly constricted. Third junior brother? If he was distracted, he would definitely die. Who are you? Do you know the consequences of interfering in this matter? After the young man called Qiuming withdrew from the battle, he went to intercept Hong Yifeng aggressively. Of course, at the same time, he was also very vigilant. If the other party dared to interfere at this time, he must be very confident in his own strength. He might be an expert at the same level as Yang Yuchen and his two companions, a top-level mid-level ultimate god. You're asking for death. Hong Yifeng sneered when he saw the weakest of the three who wanted to kill his third junior brother, Yang Yuchen, coming to stop him. In the next moment, golden light burst out from Hong Yifeng's body as the power of law spread out and illuminated thousands of miles. At the same time, another figure swept out from his body. This Hong Yifeng was wearing a fiery red robe with flames surging around his body. His eyes were slightly dim. However, after he appeared, another power of law caused the heaven and earth vision to appear. Another power of law vision that illuminated thousands of miles. The scene made the surrounding people's pupils shrink as they were shocked. He has mastered two types of laws to the point of illuminating thousands of miles? This mid-level ultimate god is too terrifying. Even among the upper-level ultimate gods, I'm afraid only the top ones can master two types of laws to the point of illuminating thousands of miles at the same time. Everyone was shocked. Qiuming's expression changed drastically. He did not expect his opponent to be so powerful and terrifying. He probably hasn't mastered the four Tao of heaven and earth. As long as he hasn't mastered the four Tao of heaven and earth, I'll be able to hold him back for a while. Qiuming instinctively thought it was impossible for his opponent to master the four Tao of heaven and earth. If his opponent had mastered the four Tao of heaven and earth, he would be stronger than the top intermediate ultimate gods such as his two companions and Yang Yuchen. However, when his opponent approached him, the power of law from both sides whistled as a mysterious aura swept out. Qiuming could clearly sense the abnormality in his opponent's power of law. This is the Tao of control. It was not difficult for Qiuming, who had just fought with Yang Yuchen, to notice this was the shadow of the Tao of control of the four Tao of heaven and earth. Although his opponent's Tao of control was not as good as Yang Yuchen's, his strength was definitely above Yang Yuchen's when coupled with the power of law that he had mastered. I'm no match for him. I don't have the ability to hold him back. At this moment, Qiuming realized the gap between him and his opponent. With his opponent's strength, he could easily kill Qiuming in an instant. Retreat. Qiuming hurriedly retreated as he called for help from his two companions. Lu Yun, Xiao Xiang, save me. Although Yang Yuchen found the voice familiar, he did not have the time to think about whose voice it was as he was on the brink of death. Now that Qiuming had called for help, Nangong, Lu Yun, and the other person slowed down. Yang Yuchen finally had the time to see who it was. With just a glance, he was pleasantly surprised. Second senior brother. Second senior brother? As soon as Yang Yuchen said that, Nangong, Lu Yun, and the other person's expressions changed. They can't save you. At the same time, Hong Yifeng's indifferent voice slowly spread out. Then, Hong Yifeng's law clone turned into a ball of fire and quickly swept across the void. Then, before Nangong, Lu Yun, and the other person could move, he turned into a ball of fire and engulfed Qiuming. In the eyes of the onlookers, Qiuming looked like he was swallowed alive by a giant fire beast. After a miserable shriek, an illusory figure appeared and let out an unwilling roar. A divine artifact fell from the void. A medium ultimate god, one of the best among medium ultimate gods, died in the blink of an eye. This scene made the onlookers' scalps tingle. Even some of the stronger higher ultimate gods looked at Hong Yifeng's back with fear in their eyes. This person is even more terrifying than the other three. Oh my god! His strength has probably exceeded our definition of a peak medium ultimate god, right? Is there anyone stronger than him among the medium-level ultimate gods? While the onlookers were still in shock, Hong Yifeng's original body and his fire law clone joined the battle. Third junior brother, we'll catch up later. Now, let's kill these two brats. Hong Yifeng growled in a deep voice. The golden light on his body shone brightly as if he had turned into a golden man. At the same time, his fire law clone wielded a long saber and charged forward. Alright. Yang Yuchen thought he was going to die. He did not expect his second senior brother, whom he had not seen for a long time, to appear at such a crucial moment and save him. Hong Yifeng. And at this very moment, Nangong Luyun, who had yet to recover from the shock of her companion's death, had her expression change in an instant. Others might not know much about the Myriad Arts Academy's internal branch, but he knew very well. He even knew that the grand senior sister of the internal branch of Myriad Arts Academy had a ruthless person in this generation. She was someone who had made a name for herself in the outer realm. Even many experts would give her a thumbs up when she was mentioned. He also knew that in the Myriad Arts Academy's internal branch, there was another person, Hong Yifeng, who was ranked second above Yang Yuchen. He was also the former Vice Palace Master of Myriad Arts Academy. However, he was far less famous than Yang Yuchen. However, his strength was definitely not weak. In the history of the Myriad Arts Academy's internal branch, there seemed to be no weaklings. Now that Hong Yifeng had appeared and displayed his strength, he was both shocked and incredulous. How could a medium ultimate god be so powerful? Of course, he also knew that very few medium ultimate gods could master two types of law powers that could illuminate thousands of miles before stepping into the upper ultimate god realm because it was unrealistic and unnecessary. If Hong Yifeng did not have this fire law clone, his strength would at most be on par with him, his companion, and Yang Yuchen. But now, he no longer had an advantage. In fact, he was only left with a disadvantage. Xiao Xiang, let's retreat. Without any hesitation, Nangong Luyun faced the menacing Hong Yifeng as well as Yang Yuchen, who was injured but had also charged over. At the same time, her expression turned ugly, and she quickly called for her companions to retreat. His companions also made a move the moment he finished speaking. Trying to escape? Hong Yifeng revealed a disdainful expression as he faced Nangong Luyun and Nangong Luyun, who were preparing to retreat. Soon after, his Law of Fire avatar shook and once again turned into flames that filled the sky. With an even faster speed, he blocked Nangong Luyun and Nangong Liuyun's path. Unless you've comprehended the law of wind or the law of space. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving under my nose today. Chapter 43:22. Hong Yifeng was very domineering and confident. And now, he had the capital to be domineering and confident. He was good at metal elemental laws. Many years ago, he had comprehended metal elemental laws to the point of illuminating millions of miles. Later on, he had a fortuitous encounter and comprehended the fire elemental laws to the point of illuminating millions of miles. Any medium-level ultimate god who had mastered any kind of law to the point of illuminating millions of miles would be one of the best among medium-level ultimate gods even if they had not mastered any of the four paths of heaven and earth. If one could master the four paths of heaven and earth, even if they had just mastered it, they could become a top existence among medium-level ultimate gods in one fell swoop. Nangong and Lu Yun, who had intercepted Yang Yuchen today, and Nangong and Lu Yun's helpers were such existences. You can't leave. After all, Yang Yuchen was only lightly injured. After taking a few healing divine pills, the aura on his body became stronger. He suddenly made his move, and together with his second senior brother Hong Yifeng, they blocked Nangong Luyun and Nangong Lun. Of course, he was more like a bystander. Hong Yifeng's main body had a powerful aura, and his metal law avatar had merged with his main body, so that he would not be at a disadvantage in front of Nangong Luyun and Nangong Luyun, who both possessed the power of bloodline. In addition, the fire elemental law clone was also very powerful. When combined with his aura, it was even more terrifying than a pair of twins at the level of Nangong and Lu Yun's level. The twins were telepathic, so when they worked together, they were far more terrifying than ordinary two people working together. However, Hong Yifeng was obviously even more terrifying now. After all, the fire elemental law clone was also himself. It was like a person had created a clone that was not much weaker than the original body. This kind of clone and original body worked together seamlessly, making Nangong and Lu Yun feel aggrieved and helpless. They were now doing their best to escape, but they were blocked by Hong Yifeng. They couldn't find a chance at all. In addition, Yang Yuchen's interference from time to time made them so anxious that they almost went crazy. Nangong and Lu Yun's expressions were extremely ugly. They never expected that the originally good situation would fall to such a state in the blink of an eye. Just now, if they were given more than 10 breaths of time, they were absolutely confident that they could kill Yang Yuchen. However, at the crucial moment, Hong Yifeng appeared and displayed an extremely terrifying strength. As the proud son of a giant god-level family and a genius valued by the strongest, he naturally knew what Hong Yifeng's current strength meant. Looking at the various planes of gods, and even the entire reverse god world, it would be difficult to find a second person whose strength was comparable to Hong Yifeng's. Although Hong Yifeng had some fame in the past, he was only one of the best medium ultimate gods. Now, not only has he improved, but he has even surpassed us top medium ultimate gods. What opportunity did he get? Right now, Nangong Luyun was thinking of a way to escape while having a myriad of thoughts. Could it be that I really have to use the projection jade scroll that the ancestor gave me? Ancestor, if you show yourself and fight, you will be violating the rules of the planar battlefield and the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm. Even my Chaos points will be cleared. Lu Yun and Lu Yun and Lu Yun were Lu's to be had. He could not accept the fact that his Chaos points were emptied. As for the punishment of his ancestor, it had nothing to do with him. Although he felt guilty, he would rather feel guilty than live and die. Why don't I wait for Ning Xiaoxiang to use the Lu Yun's Lu Yun and Lu Yun's Lu Yun's Lu Yun? Thinking about this, a cunning look flashed across the depths of Nangong Liuyun's eyes. However, he soon realized that he was overthinking. Nangong and Lu Yun. Ning Xiaoxiang's voice transmission echoed in Nangong Liuyun's ears at the right time. This time, I made a move purely to help you. Although you'll give me something as a reward after the matter is settled, the reason why we're in such a dangerous situation is ultimately because of you. You're still not going to crush the Yu, Lu Yun's Lu Yun and Lu Yun's Lu Yun. Are you waiting for me to crush the Yu, Lu Yun's Lu Yun and Lu Yun's Lu Yun? If that's the case, you're dreaming. I think that if I surrender now and am even willing to pay enough money to buy my life, they might not necessarily not let me go. But either you will die, or in the end, you can only crush the projection jade slip of your clan's ancestor. Right now, Ning Xiaoxiang was clearly a little flustered and exasperated. Although he and Nangong and Lu Yun were both prodigies of godly venerate level clans in the Shengeng land and had some ties with each other, they were not close. This time, he had cooperated with Nangong and Lu Yun to search for the Duan Ling Tian and met Yang Yuchen. Nangong and Lu Yun had wanted to kill Yang Yuchen, but Lu Yun had only agreed to help after Lu Yun promised him a reward. Qiu Ming, on the other hand, was Nangong and Lu Yun's cousin. Therefore, he was willing to help Nangong and Lu Yun without Lu Yun's promise of a reward. Hearing Ning Xiaoxiang's words, Nangong and Lu Yun knew that he had no other choice. When Yang Yuchen unleashed another burst of power and charged over with Hong Yifeng, seeing that both he and Ning Xiaoxiang were in mortal danger, he finally took out a jade slip and crushed it. But the jade slip shattered, and a terrifying energy gushed out. An incomparably gigantic face appeared in the air, looking incomparably cold and emotionless. When Yang Yuchen and Hong Yifeng's attacks came over, they were blocked by the huge face. However, after blocking the attack, the huge face became somewhat illusory and erratic. However, one could still see that it was the face of a middle-aged man. The middle-aged man had a dignified look and a cold expression. He glanced at Hong Yifeng and said, "You're not even a match for the Ning family's brat?" Evidently, this supreme expert knew Ning Xiaoxiang as well. "Greetings, Senior Nangong." At this moment, Ning Xiaoxiang respectfully bowed to the huge face that the middle-aged man had manifested. At the same time, even Hong Yifeng and Yang Yuchen temporarily stopped their attacks and did not attack again. No matter what, the other party was still a supreme expert. It was impossible for them to not give him face. Although they were not afraid of the other party here, what about in the future? In the future, they would definitely go to the outer world. If the other party really wanted to kill them, they would not be able to do anything. Therefore, they could not afford to offend the other party. Of course, this time, if the other party really wanted to save Nangong and Lu Yun's life, he would have to bleed a little. Otherwise, they would not allow Nangong and Lu Yun to leave just like that. Second senior brother. Yang Yuchen sent a voice transmission to Hong Yifeng. There was a hint of helplessness in his tone. "Say, when do you think first senior sister will become a supreme expert? If she becomes a supreme expert, we won't have to be so afraid even if the projection of Nangong's true body appears today." "I don't know." Hong Yifeng's tone was clearly a little helpless. "It's not that easy to become a supreme expert." As soon as he finished speaking, he also allowed the supreme expert of the Nangong clan to educate Nangong and Lu Yun. He began to persuade Yang Yuchen. "Third junior brother, I'm afraid it'll be very difficult to kill Nangong Lu Yun today. You have to be mentally prepared for this." His third junior brother seemed to be kind and refined, but he knew that he was also a vengeful person who would not compromise easily. "Second senior brother, I'm already past the age of being young and impetuous." Hearing Hong Yifeng's voice transmission, Yang Yuchen said somewhat helplessly, "Ever since you threw away your responsibilities and ran away, I took over the lineage of internal strength and became the Vice Palace Master of Myriad Arts Academy. My edges and corners have been smoothed out a lot. If there's a chance in the future, I'll definitely kill Nangong Lu Yun. As for now, I'll just try my best to get some benefits from Nangong's body." This isn't the planar battlefield, but the Chaos Realm. Moreover, it's an upgraded version of the Chaos Realm. If he makes a move here, it'll be much more serious than in the planar battlefield. Hearing Yang Yuchen's words, Hong Yifeng was relieved. He was really worried that his third junior brother would be stubborn and insist on killing Nangong Lu Yun. Is it the supreme expert of the Nangong clan in the land of Xiangang? At this time, the group of onlookers also recovered from their shock. This was because it was the first time most of them had seen the scene of a supreme expert's projection jade slip being crushed. This scene shocked them. I've long heard that when a supreme expert's projection jade slip is crushed, a shocking defensive power will appear. Today, I see that it's true. The attacks of those two people were completely neutralized just now. However, this is the only passive defensive power. After that, if the person who crushed the jade slip wants to live, he can only rely on the supreme expert's projection to make a move. If the supreme expert doesn't make a move, then he'll still die. It's the supreme expert of the Nangong clan. Looks like the young man who crushed the jade slip is a member of the Nangong clan in the land of Shengang. The surrounding onlookers all looked over, and even more people looked curiously at the enormous face that was floating in midair and gave them a strong sense of oppression. Although it was only a projection of the supreme expert's projection, it still gave them a suffocating feeling. A supreme expert was the strongest existence in this world. This is a supreme expert? I never imagined that I would have the chance to see a supreme expert with my own eyes in my lifetime. Even if it's only a projection of the supreme expert, it's worth bragging about for the rest of my life. While many people in the surrounding onlookers were slightly excited, the supreme expert of the Nangong clan stopped reprimanding Nangong Lu Yun, and his gaze descended onto Yang Yuchen and Hong Yifeng. You're Huangfu Mingyuan's junior brothers? When the supreme expert of the Nangong clan looked at Yang Yuchen and Hong Yifeng, his gaze became much gentler, and even a faint smile hung on his face. Huangfu Mingyuan. She was Yang Yuchen and Hong Yifeng's eldest senior sister. At the same time, she was also Duan Lingtian's eldest senior sister. Senior knows my eldest senior sister? Hong Yifeng asked with a faint smile. The current him looked as if nothing had happened. On the other hand, Yang Yuchen frowned slightly. The other party suddenly mentioned their eldest senior sister's name. Could it be that they wanted to use their eldest senior sister to threaten them? In an instant, Yang Yuchen's expression started to turn cold. End of this chapter. Chapter 43-23. Huangfu Mengyuan was the current eldest senior sister of the 10,000 Laws Palace's inner palace. She was also the current spiritual leader of the 10,000 Laws Palace's inner palace. Regardless of whether it was Hong Yifeng, the second disciple, Yang Yuchen, the third disciple, or Lang Chunyuan, the fourth disciple, they were all personally accepted into the inner palace by Huangfu Mengyuan. They were all monstrous geniuses that she had unearthed. Among the current generation of the 10,000 Laws Palace's inner palace, only Duan Lingtian was not unearthed by Huangfu Mengyuan. It was also because of this that whether it was Hong Yifeng or Yang Yuchen, their relationship with the eldest senior sister was very good. Even on their path of growth, the eldest senior sister had helped them clean up their mess many times. You can say that I know her. The supreme expert of the Nangong clan laughed faintly. It's just that I've heard of her for a long time. Her reputation in the outer realm is even greater than many of our supreme experts. Many of us are looking forward to her becoming a supreme expert as soon as possible. In recent years, I've been using her as an example to teach the younger generation. However, the younger generation still doesn't like to work hard. As he spoke, the supreme expert of the Nangong clan's tone was clearly a little disappointed. Today, I'll use 5 embryos of the supreme divine artifacts as the price to exchange for their lives. How about it? The supreme expert of the Nangong clan quickly got to the point. 5 embryos of the supreme divine artifacts in exchange for the lives of Nangong clans Lu Yun and Ning Xiaoxiang. 5 embryos of the supreme divine artifacts. When the onlookers heard the supreme expert of the Nangong clan's words, they all gasped. They did not expect this supreme expert to be so generous. He was actually willing to take out so many embryos of the supreme divine artifacts to exchange for the lives of the younger generation. Before Yang Yuchen could say anything, Hong Yifeng had already said with a smile, "Senior, you're too polite. Since Senior has stepped forward, then this matter will be dropped." As soon as Hong Yifeng finished speaking, he glanced at Yang Yuchen who was standing next to him and said through voice transmission, "Third junior brother, it's about time. He has given us quite a lot of things. Most importantly, this is what he wanted to give, not what we asked for. If we asked for it, he might have a bad impression of us. But now he can't do that. If we were too greedy, perhaps he would agree to our request. However, if that were the case, the nature of the relationship would be completely different. When that time comes, I'm worried that this guy will target eldest senior sister in the outer realm. Hearing Hong Yifeng's words, Yang Yuchen said helplessly, "Third senior brother, you don't have to tell me this. Do you think I don't understand?" However, that old man is still quite scheming. He actually only gave us 5 embryos of the ultimate divine artifacts instead of 6. Otherwise, even if you gave me 4, I wouldn't feel this way. Is he trying to drive a wedge between us? Yang Yuchen's tone was cold as he spoke. That's possible. Hong Yifeng smiled. However, that might not be the case. Perhaps his true body projection only brought 5 embryos of the ultimate divine artifacts out. Even if he was an ultimate divine artifact, his true body projection could only bring a limited amount of power and items out with him when he went out with a jade slip. Let's leave this matter at that. After confirming with his third junior brother, Hong Yifeng looked at the projection of the true body of the Nangong family's utmost powerful being. That gigantic face said unhurriedly, "All right." The ultimate divine artifact from the Nangong clan gave Hong Yifeng 5 embryos of the ultimate divine artifacts. They seemed to appear out of thin air and flew in front of Hong Yifeng. At the same time, the Nangong clans Lu Yun and Ning Xiaoxiang looked at each other and left together. They moved faster and soon disappeared before everyone's eyes. After a while, the true body projection of the ultimate divine artifact from the Nangong clan gradually dissipated. However, at the same time, his voice was still reverberating in the ears of everyone present. The inner palace of the Wanfa Academy is indeed full of talents. Huangfu Mengyuan, the number 1 upper ultimate god in the god-defying realm. Hong Yifeng, the strength you showed today is also the number 1 middle ultimate god in the god-defying realm. And your little junior brother, Duan Lington, is definitely the number 1 lower ultimate god in the god-defying realm. Amazing! After a sigh, the voice of the ultimate divine artifact from the Nangong clan came to an abrupt end. The onlookers were so shocked that they could not recover for a long time. The inner palace of the Wanfa Academy? It was the first time they heard that there was an inner palace of the Wanfa Academy. However, after hearing what the ultimate divine artifact said, they had some understanding of the inner palace of the Wanfa Academy. Hong Yifeng and Yang Yuchen seemed to be from the inner palace of the Wanfa Academy. They also had a senior sister who was said by the ultimate divine artifact to be the number 1 upper ultimate god in the god-defying realm. Hong Yifeng's strength was amazing. In addition, they had seen Hong Yifeng fight. So when the ultimate divine artifact said that Hong Yifeng was the number 1 middle ultimate god in the god-defying realm, they felt that he deserved it. There's also Duan Lingtian. In next to no time, someone swiftly reacted to it. Duan Lingtian is actually a member of the Myriad Jurisprudence Palace's inner court as well. Duan Lingtian is recognized as the number 1 lower ultimate god in the god-defying realm. I didn't expect him to be from the inner palace of the Wanfa Academy, just like Hong Yifeng and Huangfu Mengyuan. What kind of place is the inner palace of the Wanfa Academy? There are so many evildoers appearing frequently. The 3 of them represent the peak of the 3 cultivation realms of the ultimate god realm in the god-defying realm. Hong Yifeng and Duan Lingtian are beyond doubt. Huangfu Mengyuan, since even the ultimate divine artifact said so, she is obviously really powerful. The onlookers were shocked. More people's eyes fell on Hong Yifeng with passion. Hong Yifeng also had many doubts in his heart. At the same time, he was also a little excited. Duan Lingtian was from the inner palace? Little junior brother? Seeing that his third junior brother did not seem surprised at all, he immediately realized that it was indeed true. Maybe he was a genius of the inner palace that his third junior brother had accepted. Third junior brother, let's leave here first. Although there were many doubts in his heart, Hong Yifeng also knew that now was not the time to ask. The most important thing now was to get rid of the group of people present and find a place that others could not easily find so that he could ask his third junior brother about little junior brother. Although there was no reward for them in this upgraded version of the Chaos region, Now that his strength was exposed, there would definitely be people who would feel that he was a threat in the overall ranking battle. Under such circumstances, he was also in great danger. Well, let's leave first. Yang Yuchen naturally thought of this, so after hearing his second senior brother Hong Yifeng's voice transmission, he immediately hit it off and the two of them quickly left. When the two of them left, some high-level ultimate gods stared at their backs. Their eyes flickered a few times, but in the end, they did not chase after them. They did not have full confidence in dealing with this pair of brothers. A top mid-level ultimate god's strength was not weaker than many high-level ultimate gods. There was also a top existence among the top middle-level divine masters who was recognized as the number one middle-level divine master in the god-defying realm by the supreme experts. It could be seen that his strength was strong. Perhaps his strength was not weaker than some of the best among the high-level divine masters. Hong Yifeng and Yang Yuchen flew all the way until they were at full speed. After confirming that no one was following them, they finally landed on the peak of a medium-height mountain among a large number of peaks of different heights within a mountain range and came to a halt. After landing, Hong Yifeng looked at Yang Yuchen with deep curiosity in his eyes. Third junior brother, that Duan Lington, is the little junior brother that you recently accepted? Yang Yuchen nodded. About 100 years ago, I accepted him into the internal palace as our little junior brother. Since then, our little junior sister has become fourth junior sister. Yang Yuchen smiled. Ha! After Hong Yifeng got confirmation, he laughed. Good job. Third junior brother, you're better than second senior brother. During those years when second senior brother was in charge of the internal palace, he wanted to recruit 1 or 2 more junior brothers and sisters for the internal palace, but he couldn't find a good candidate. I didn't expect you to accept such a peerless genius. But, how could you accept such a peerless genius as your disciple? Are those godly venerable level forces so slow to realize this? Hong Yifeng was obviously a little confused as he spoke. In his opinion, such a genius should be the target of the giants and ultimate god forces, but in the end, he entered the internal palace of the Myriad Jurisprudence Palace? Second senior brother. Yang Yuchen shook his head and said, when little junior brother entered the internal palace, he wasn't even an emperor god. Hong Yifeng was stunned by his words. It took him a while to recover. Didn't you say he only entered the internal palace about 100 years ago? You mean, this time, before Hong Yifeng could finish his sentence, Yang Yuchen nodded and said, he became an emperor god and an ultimate god after entering the internal palace. He's stronger than all of us. Even first senior sister's cultivation speed back then was far inferior to his. Yang Yuchen sighed and told Hong Yifeng about Duan Lingtian's growth in the Myriad Jurisprudence Palace in detail so that Hong Yifeng could better understand his genius little junior brother. Little junior brother is really a genius. Hong Yifeng was pleasantly surprised but also a little worried. Third junior brother, according to your description of little junior brother, he shouldn't be someone who doesn't know when to stop. If he felt there was danger, he would have left the upgraded chaos territory in advance, right? Hearing this, Yang Yuchen didn't know how to answer. After all, the rewards for the top 3 in the upgraded chaos territory were too generous. He knew how persistent his little junior brother was in his pursuit of power. Even if there was a slim chance of survival, his little junior brother wouldn't give up so easily, right? Chapter 43-24. What's wrong? Seeing that Yang Yuchen wanted to say something, Hong Yifeng's expression suddenly changed. Could it be that little junior brother will insist on staying in the upgraded version of the Chaos region? Second senior brother. Yang Yuchen sighed and said, our little junior brother was able to come to this stage not only because of his talent, but also because of his yearning for the strong. His persistence in becoming stronger is probably greater than most people. I don't dare to say anything else. At least, in the current generation of the god-defying realm, no one in the younger generation with some talent can compare to him in this aspect. When Hong Yifeng heard this, he fell silent for a moment. He was not even 1,000 years old, and he had already come to this step, At least, in the history of the god-defying realm that he knew, he had never heard of anyone who could do this to his little junior brother that he had never met before. I hope he's safe and sound. Also, you and I can go together and see if we can meet him. If we can meet him and go with him, it can also ensure his safety. Hong Yifeng said in a deep voice. Although he had never seen that little junior brother before, since he was his little junior brother and a member of the inner palace of the Myriad Law School, it was enough for him to risk everything to protect him. Although the inner palace of the Myriad Law School had few people, they were united. With second senior brother and me together, as long as we are not targeted in this upgraded version of the Chaos region, we will definitely not be in danger. I hope that we can help little junior brother in the coming days. The current Yang Yuchen was actually wholeheartedly focused on his little junior brother. The ranking of the same realm and the top 3 of the overall ranking were all thrown to the back of his mind. Although the treasure was good, in his heart, it was far less important than his little junior brother's life. Moreover, that little junior brother was accepted into the inner palace by him. To him, the feelings were slightly different. As for Hong Yifeng, although he had never seen that little junior brother, his sense of belonging to the inner palace was something that even Yang Yuchen and Lang Chunwan couldn't compare to. In fact, even their eldest senior sister, Huangfu Mengyuan, might not have a sense of belonging to the inner palace compared to Hong Yifeng. Hong Yifeng could be said to be the most responsible line master of the current generation of the inner palace. Back then, if he hadn't obeyed eldest senior sister's order to pass the position of branch master to third junior brother Yang Yuchen, he wouldn't have given it up. He knew that third junior brother Yang Yuchen was used to freedom, and making him the branch master was torture. However, he had no choice but to obey his eldest senior sister's orders. Moreover, he had been in charge of the inner palace for many years and was at the beck and call of the Myriad Arts Academy. At that time, he had indeed slacked off a lot in his cultivation. He was also aware of this, so he didn't go against his eldest senior sister and went with the flow to hand over the inner palace to his third junior brother, Yang Yuchen. After that, he went to various places in the realms of gods to cultivate. When the planar battlefield opened, he entered the planar battlefield and never left. We have to find little junior brother before them. Even if we can't find little junior brother first, we hope that those who find little junior brother first can't do anything to him. Hong Yifeng's expression was also very solemn. After learning that Duan Lingtian was his little junior brother, he knew what he had to do next was to find his little junior brother and protect him. As for the ranking list, he had also put it aside. Third junior brother, you've entered the planar battlefield, and so has little junior brother. Don't tell me you've handed over the inner palace to fourth junior sister? Hong Yifeng suddenly thought of this problem, and his expression changed slightly. His fourth junior sister, was she reliable? Yes. Yang Yuchen nodded. At the same time, he seemed to have guessed Hong Yifeng's thoughts. Second senior brother, fourth junior sister has already entered the ultimate god stage. Moreover, with little junior brother joining us, she now has the responsibility of a senior sister. You can rest assured that she'll be fine if we hand over the inner palace to her now. Although Yang Yuchen said that, deep down he wasn't certain. The only thing he was certain of was that his fourth junior sister would not allow the independent realm where the inner palace was located to collapse and disappear because there was no one guarding it. After all, it was not only the inner palace's root, but it was also his fourth junior sister's only home. At that moment, Duan Lingtian naturally did not know that his 2 senior brothers in the Myriad Jurisprudence Palace's inner palace had given up the competition for the same realm list for him. Like those who wanted to kill him, they began to search everywhere for him. It's finally opened. As for Duan Lingtian, after a period of hiding, he finally managed to enter the 10-man secret realm that he had been waiting for a long time. At that moment, he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. He could finally get rid of the group of people who had been searching for him. After he left the secret realm this time, as long as he wasn't too unlucky, he would definitely not appear in that area again and become the target of those people's search. At the same time, news of Hong Yifeng's appearance and his strength that was stronger than a peak intermediate ultimate god and even comparable to some of the best high-level ultimate gods had spread throughout the upgraded Chaos territory. Do you know who Hong Yifeng is? He's Duan Lingtian's senior brother, second senior brother. I heard that Duan Lingtian's third senior brother was almost killed this time, and at the critical moment, it was precisely his second senior brother, Hong Yifeng, who appeared and saved his third senior brother in time. Moreover, the opponent even summoned the true body projection of a supreme powerhouse, and only then was he lucky to escape death. This time, it's Nangong Luyun from the Nangong clan in the Xingang land and Ning Xiaoxiang from the Ning clan in the Xingang land. They're all famous heaven's prides in various divine planes. At least, before this, they were far more famous than Hong Yifeng and Yang Yuchen. The supreme expert from the Nangong clan said that in the myriad jurisprudence palace's inner palace, Duan Lingtian's first senior sister, Huangfu Mengyuan, is the number one high-level ultimate god in the god-defying realm. Second senior brother, Hong Yifeng, is the no. One intermediate ultimate god in the god-defying realm. Duan Lingtian himself is the number one low-level ultimate god in the god-defying realm. I know about the myriad jurisprudence palace, but what's going on with the inner palace? Myriad jurisprudence palace, are they trying to defy the heavens? It's just a heavyweight ultimate god-level force, but there are actually 3 such monsters? The various military camps were filled with similar words. Most of the people's topics revolved around the myriad jurisprudence palace's inner palace, Duan Lingtian, and Duan Lingtian's senior brothers and senior sisters. Of course, they were all talking about Duan Lingtian's first senior sister, second senior brother, and third senior brother. As for fourth senior sister, no one mentioned it. At this moment, Duan Lingtian's fourth senior sister, Lang Chunwan's law avatar, happened to be in a military camp. When she heard so many people mention her first senior sister, second senior brother, third senior brother, and little junior brother, she wanted to remind them that her little junior brother, Duan Lingtian, had a fourth senior sister. However, she suppressed this crazy idea in the end. This was because she knew that it was fine if her identity was not exposed. Once it was exposed, she would definitely become the target of a group of people. At that time, her law avatar would be useless. If her law avatar was useless, it would also mean that she would have no chance to compete for the lower ultimate god list. Just wait and see. This time, I will at least kill my way into the top 3 of the lower ultimate god list and let you know that the myriad jurisprudence palace's inner palace still has me, Lang Chunwan. Lang Chunwan snorted coldly in her heart and secretly made up her mind. At the same time, she also left the military camp immediately and continued to search for chaos points. Lang Chunwan had always been a loner. It was not until she entered the myriad jurisprudence palace's inner palace that she felt like home. She naturally would not be jealous of her senior brothers, senior sisters, and little junior brother. However, because of those people's focus, she felt that there was a gap between herself and her senior sisters, senior brothers, and little junior brothers. It was as if, at that moment, she felt that she could not catch up with their pace. It's fine if I'm not as good as eldest senior sister, second senior brother, and third senior brother. I can't let little junior brother surpass me by too much. I want to become stronger. I want to become stronger. At that moment, even Lang Chunwan's original body in the myriad jurisprudence palace in the Xingang land began to become restless. In another military camp, as the patriarch of the Yun clan, a giant ultimate god family in the divine offering land, Yun Tingfeng was a supreme existence in the Yun clan and was supported by everyone. However, when he arrived at the dimensional battlefield, especially in the upgraded version of the Chaos Territory, his sense of existence was much weaker. Although he was a top existence among the upper ultimate gods, there were many top upper ultimate gods like him in the upgraded version of the Chaos Territory. Unless he intentionally revealed his identity, others basically treated him as invisible and thought he was just a upper ultimate god. In the upgraded version of the Chaos Territory, upper ultimate gods could be seen everywhere and were not rare. Today, Yun Tingfeng came out of a secret realm with many people and came to the nearby military camp. Soon he heard about the Duan Lingtian's second senior brother, Hong Yifeng. A medium ultimate god whose strength is comparable to some of the best upper ultimate gods? Huangfu Mengyuan is actually Duan Lingtian's eldest senior sister? If it was said that Yun Tingfeng had never heard of Hong Yifeng, then the name Huangfu Mengyuan was like thunder to his ears. She was a female expert who had risen very quickly. Although she was young, she had already made a name for herself in the outer realm. Even the supreme expert behind the Yun clan had said that this woman was one of the few people who had the most hope of becoming a supreme expert in the god-defying realm. Moreover, with her foundation, once she became a supreme expert, she would definitely not be a bottom-tier supreme expert. At that time, her strength might not be much weaker than his. 10,000 Law Academy's Inner Palace Branch? So he's a member of the 10,000 Law Academy's Inner Palace Branch and not an ordinary 10,000 Law Academy student. No wonder Su Bailey was unwilling to expel Duan Lingtian from the 10,000 Law Academy when he went to the 10,000 Law Academy. It was because he didn't dare and didn't have the authority. The 10,000 Law Academy's Inner Palace Branch is in the 10,000 Law Academy, but it's also independent of the 10,000 Law Academy. As the patriarch of the Yun clan, Yun Tingfeng had heard of the 10,000 Law Academy's Inner Palace Branch. He also knew that the monstrous female expert named Huangfu Mengyuan was from that branch. Damn it! That Duan Lingtian is actually Huangfu Mengyuan's junior brother? Chapter 43-25. In truth, Yun Tingfeng did not know much about the 10,000 Laws Palace's inner progeny. All he knew was that the progeny had many geniuses, but he had never heard of any supreme powerhouses. However, there was one person in this generation who had a chance of becoming a supreme powerhouse. It was none other than Huangfu Mengyuan. For this reason, Yun Tingfeng knew about Huangfu Mengyuan and the existence of the inner progeny in the 10,000 Laws Palace. Now that he found out Duan Lingtian was actually Huangfu Mengyuan's junior brother, he could not help but feel slightly annoyed. Huangfu Mengyuan was not someone to be trifled with. I hope Duan Lingtian dies in the upgraded chaos territory. Yun Tingfeng thought to himself. Otherwise, it'll take a lot of effort to trap and kill him. We'll have to seal the news and prevent it from leaking out. Otherwise, Huangfu Mengyuan won't let the matter rest if she finds out it's the Yun clan who killed him. Perhaps, with the old ancestor around, she won't be able to do anything to the Yun clan. However, if she wants Yen to take the blame and pay with his life, the old ancestor will most likely agree to it. This was something Yun Tingfeng could not accept. Yun Qingyan was his son. He would not allow him to lose a single hair on his son's head. This was also the main reason why he was determined to kill Duan Lingtian even at this moment. Duan Lingtian must die. If Duan Lingtian did not die, he would definitely be at odds with his son. Even if the Yun clan was not affected, his son might not be able to survive. If he wanted to protect his son, he had to kill Duan Lingtian. Put aside the fact that Duan Lingtian was merely the junior brother of Huangfu Mengyuan who had yet to become a supreme powerhouse, even if Duan Lingtian belonged to a supreme powerhouse, as long as there was a chance to kill Duan Lingtian, he would not miss it. In his opinion, his son's life was more important than anything else. In the secret realm of 10, Duan Lingtian was accompanied by 4 people from the divine offering land and 5 people from other realms of gods. The two sides were still confronting each other. However, when Duan Lingtian appeared, some people guessed his identity and witnessed his strength. The remaining 9 people helplessly expressed that they would not interfere with any of the checkpoints in the secret territory. It really is Duan Lingtian. With Duan Lingtian here, let's just stand aside and watch. I didn't expect to be so unlucky as to encounter the Duan Lingtian. Forget it, I'll just wait for those battle credits. They'll be the ticket to see the true face of this Duan Lingtian. I heard that in the upgraded Chaos Realm, there are bounties for Duan Lingtian everywhere. Under such circumstances, he's still alive and well, and even managed to enter the secret realm to earn Chaos points. He's really something. Geniuses, especially geniuses like him, aren't stupid. Based on Duan Lingtian's current achievements, if he's given a few thousand years, there's a high chance he'll become one of the strongest senior ultimate gods. If he's given 10,000 years, he might even become a supreme powerhouse. I really hope he'll grow up smoothly and become a paramount god. At that time, I can proudly tell others that I've met Duan Lingtian in the Chaos Realm when he was still weak. Met him before? Why don't you just say that he took away the opportunity to earn Chaos points? The 9 people watched Duan Lingtian make a move as they whispered to each other, and the tone of most of them seemed to be free and easy. It was clear they were open-minded about it. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Duan Lingtian successfully cleared all the checkpoints in the secret realm and obtained all the rewards. Apart from that, he also obtained all the Chaos points. So many people have put a bounty on my head and are hunting me down. If I don't get first place on the overall ranking list this time, I'm afraid I'll be letting them down. Although Duan Lingtian knew he would soon be in danger after leaving the secret realm this time, he was not afraid at all. Instead, he was focused on getting first place on the overall ranking list in the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm. First place on the overall ranking list. The rewards are so generous that it's definitely enough for me to step into the realm of a mid-level ultimate god and even strengthen my cultivation base. On top of that, I'll also get an ultimate god's divinity. The first place on the overall ranking list would allow him to bathe in the divine corrupting spring and absorb as much divine corrupting spring as he wanted. On top of that, he would also get an ultimate god's divinity. Due to the generous rewards, he had become a thorn in the side of many people. So what if I become the enemy of the whole world? I, Duan Lingnan, am not afraid. After leaving the secret realm, Duan Lingtian opened the secret realm again. At the same time, he found a place nearby to go into seclusion and wait for the secret realm to open. Now, the efficiency of him going out to hunt for Chaos points was not high. He still had to rely on the secret realm of the 10 people. This time, while waiting for the next secret realm to open, he was not discovered like last time. However, when he came out of the secret realm of the 10 people, he was targeted again. Then, after killing a few mid-level ultimate gods, he continued to escape. He continued to wait for the next secret realm of the 10 people to open. Once, he was intercepted by 2 high-level ultimate gods and was in danger. Although he could escape, he had to pay a high price. However, at the crucial moment, the entrance to the secret realm of the 10 people opened and saved his life. That time was also the most dangerous crisis he had experienced in the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm. After that, he was more scared than hurt. Time flew. The opening of the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm was also coming to an end. Recently, in the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm, a group of people had been working hard to get the reward for Duan Lingtian but to no avail. There were also some people who were working hard to get into the top 3 of the Chaos Realm ranking list. Duan Lingtian's second senior brother Hong Yifeng and third senior brother Yang Yuchen, in the last period of time, in order to find Duan Lingtian and protect Duan Lingtian, although they had accumulated a lot of battle merits, they did not open any secret realms. They just collected Chaos points by chance outside. Duan Lingtian's fourth senior sister Lang Chunwon, on the other hand, opened secret realms time and time again and gained a lot. As for Duan Lingtian's master, Feng Qingyang, with the cultivation of a high-level ultimate god, he swept through and obtained secret realms of the 10 people one after another, causing his chaos points to reach a shocking level. Duan Lingtian, after all, is one step ahead of me. In the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm, a figure appeared and sighed. It was a young man. He wore a long green robe and had a cold expression. At this moment, as he muttered to himself, there was a hint of nostalgia in his eyes. His face was filled with emotions. However, after returning this time, although I didn't completely accept everything that the ancestor left behind, I've already become a high-level ultimate god. Although I entered the Chaos Realm later and didn't have much battle merits before, I'm sure it won't be a problem for me to get into the top 3 of the ultimate god ranking list. There's probably no hope for the top spot. It should be that monster like Duan Lingtian. The young man in the green robe was none other than Ling Juyin, who had entered from the world of divine offering. After Ling Juyun had returned to the Ling clan's old site, he had obtained everything that the Ling clan's strongest ancestor had left behind. After successfully becoming an upper divine emperor, he had also entered the dimensional battlefield. However, when he entered the dimensional battlefield, the Chaos Realm had already opened. In fact, it wouldn't be long before the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm opened. Under such circumstances, he was naturally at a disadvantage. He should be fine, right? When he thought about his old friend, Duan Lingtian, being targeted by so many forces and people, even though Ling Jueyun was no longer the same as before, he could not help but feel his scalp go numb. He asked himself, if he was the one being targeted like this, he would also have a slim chance of survival. He's stronger than me, so he should be fine. Ling Jueyun thought to himself. He also hoped that Duan Lingtian would be fine. It was not only because Duan Lingtian was one of his few friends, but it was also because his sister Huang had followed Duan Lingtian. She was the sword soul of Duan Lingtian's sword. In the dimensional battlefield formed by the intersection of the heavenly clear land and another dimensional battlefield. Within a military camp, 3 beautiful figures stood there, attracting the attention of many people. Among the 3 women, 2 of them had delicate and beautiful appearances, causing people to be unwilling to shift their gazes away after a single glance. At this very moment, the 3 women's faces were filled with astonishment. Sister Jingru, Xiaolan, do you think the Duan Lingtian who stirred up a storm in the Chaos Realm is him? Among the 3 women, the most beautiful woman stood there with a noble air about her. When she asked the other 2 women, her eyes shone brightly, and her voice was filled with excitement. I don't think it's possible. Among the 3 women, there was a beautiful woman whose appearance was not bad. However, in front of the other 2 women, she appeared to be more ordinary. Her face was filled with disbelief. Although I also hope that it is young master, it shouldn't be too possible, right? Sister Jingru, I think it's possible. The last woman shook her head and said, didn't you hear what they said? The prodigy from the divine offering land is called Duan Lingtian. He's from the Mystic Handle Land's Myriad Law Palace, and he's not even 1,000 years old. Most importantly, he's also from a lower plane. He has a law clone to rely on. Also, I've heard that he usually wears a purple robe. All of this matches. How can there be such a coincidence in this world? I don't believe it. The woman called Xiaolan had a stubborn expression on her face at this moment. I also don't think it's possible. The most beautiful woman nodded in agreement. Clearly, she supported the woman called Xiaolan. If it's young master, then it's naturally a good thing. The woman called Sister Jingru sighed. However, I don't really hope it's young master. After all, according to what they said, the prodigy Duan Lingtian has become a target in the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm. There's a high chance he'll die. As soon as the words left her mouth, the other 2 women's expressions changed. That was right. They only thought it was possible the prodigy was that man. They had completely forgotten the difficult situation he was in. Chapter 43-26. All of Duan Lingtian's friends and family who knew about his situation were basically worried about his safety as they felt that Duan Lingtian had a slim chance of survival this time. However, in fact, Duan Lingtian himself had also experienced a few thrilling situations, but only one of them was more thrilling. Apart from that one, the rest of the times were more daunting than dangerous. Now, it's only a few months until the upgraded version of the Chaos Territory closes. If nothing goes wrong with my current Chaos points, I should be able to get first place on the overall ranking list. Duan Lingtian thought that his previous speed of accumulating battle merits was not slow. Therefore, after the upgraded version of the Chaos Territory opened, he could also continuously open secret areas. The secret areas that he opened were all 10-man secret areas. Then, every 10-man secret realm was contracted by him, without exception. For example, if other people opened secret areas like him, even if they were strong, there was a possibility that they would meet someone whose strength was on par with them or join forces with others who were not weaker than them. Under such circumstances, there was no way to contract a secret area. Duan Lingtian, on the other hand, did not have such a problem. Lower Ultimate God? Even if there were 9 of them attacking him together, he would not be afraid. Not to mention his current strength, Even when the upgraded version of the Chaos territory had just opened, his strength was already comparable to the best of the best among the medium ultimate gods and was close to the top of the medium ultimate gods. Now, he was naturally even stronger. In the next few months, I'll properly organize my recent gains. At the same time, I'll strive to completely consolidate my lower ultimate god cultivation base. That was right. Even now, Duan Lingtian had not completely consolidated his cultivation base. The lower ultimate god cultivation base was considered the easiest to consolidate among the ultimate gods. However, Duan Lingtian had not completely consolidated his cultivation base until now. Although he had obtained some treasures that were helpful in consolidating his cultivation base in various secret areas along the way, it was ultimately a drop in the bucket. Of course, even a drop in the bucket could still accumulate. Therefore, after a long time, he was getting closer and closer to completely consolidating his cultivation base. At this moment, Duan Lingtian was even more envious of his fourth senior sister, Lang Chunwan. This was because his fourth senior sister Lang Chunwan had automatically consolidated her cultivation base not long after becoming a lower ultimate god. This was a result of the innate stage and he could only envy her. Of course, he vaguely felt that people like his fourth senior sister Lang Chunwan were able to do so because of her extraordinary bloodline, or because she had a past life like his wife, Kerr. Otherwise, this was simply unrealistic. After Kerr regained her memories from her past life, there didn't seem to be any bottlenecks in her future cultivation. I just don't know if it's the same for her future cultivation. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. At this moment, Duan Lingtian was thinking about many things. At the same time, when he thought about his wife, Kerr, he could not help but sigh inwardly. I wonder if Kerr is in the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm. If she's in the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm, she'll definitely be worried about me, right? If she's not in the Chaos Realm, that's a good thing. I hope that she's already left the Chaos Realm and the dimensional battlefield and returned to the Xia clan in the Divine Offering Land. If that's the case, she'll be safe and it'll be easier for me to find her. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Duan Lingtian found a secluded place and began to organize his gains this time. At the same time, he opened another secret realm of 10 people. As for whether he would have a chance to enter it again, he did not have much hope and only thought that it would be up to fate. After all, the average interval between entering any secret realm of 10 people in the past was more than a few months. In the past, Duan Lingtian had only used the treasures that were useful to him in the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm and the Chaos Realm. He kept the rest of the treasures. It would have been better if he did not organize them. After organizing them, he realized how much wealth he had plundered in various secret realms. Although most of the treasures were useless to him, they were rare treasures for those below the ultimate god realm. He didn't need it, but his family and friends did. Even if it's useful to me, it's still some medicinal herbs that haven't been refined. I can refine some pills here without worrying about alerting anyone. In the dimensional battlefield and the Chaos Realm, there were all kinds of heaven and earth anomalies that could not be found in the outside world. At the same time, they could also conceal themselves from the heavens and earth. For example, the Divine Pill Tribulation could also be concealed. Only the Millennium Tribulation that every expert had to face, the dimensional battlefield, and even the Chaos Realm could not conceal themselves from the heavens. Therefore, Duan Lingtian could refine divine pills here, even if it was a supreme divine pill, without causing any commotion. He did not need to worry about alerting anyone. However, if there is no pill tribulation, the efficacy of the supreme divine pills will be a little weaker. I'll refine some divine pills that will help me consolidate my cultivation base first. As for the rest of the divine pills that I don't need for now, I'll refine them after I leave this place. Duan Lingtian quickly made up his mind. In the next few months, after he had sorted out all his gains from the dimensional battlefield and the Chaos Realm, he began to refine the divine pills that he could use. Then he consumed the divine pills to cultivate. During this period of time, although there would be people passing by occasionally, nobody would be able to guess that Duan Lingtian was hiding here. This was because the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm was about to close. Many people had found a quiet place to rest and cultivate while waiting for the secret territory to open. As for these people, they were basically the stronger ones. Therefore, even if they discovered that someone was cultivating in seclusion nearby, no one dared to rashly provoke the other party. If it was someone weaker than them, it would be fine, as they would only dare to be angry and not say anything. However, if it was someone stronger than them, it would often lead to a fatal disaster. Who would want to be disturbed when they were cultivating in seclusion? In fact, now that the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm was about to close, there were fewer and fewer people looking for Duan Lingtian. This was because Duan Lingtian had disappeared without a trace. Some people felt that Duan Lingtian might have been killed by someone and that the person who killed him had not gone to the various military camps to claim the reward. Some people felt that even if Duan Lingtian was not killed now, the possibility of finding Duan Lingtian in the last few months was very low. Therefore, they were not interested. Within a military camp in the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm, a young man in blue clothes and carrying a plain-looking longsword slowly walked into the camp. Wherever he went, he attracted a lot of attention. It's him. He's that monstrous upper god emperor. You've met him before? I met him in the secret territory with 10 people. The 9 of us joined forces, but we were not a match for his sword. That sword was too scary. It directly crushed their attacks. If he had not shown mercy at the crucial moment, we would have all been dead by his sword. He must be the first on the upper god emperor ranking list. He seems to be the same as Duan Lingtian from the lower dimensions. Someone once saw with their own eyes that his Law of Destruction doppelganger and Law of Time doppelganger worked together to kill a medium ultimate god. The handsome young man in blue was as calm as ever as he faced the crowd's discussion. At this time, someone could not help but ask, "Brother, you're from the lower dimensions. Do you belong to any force now?" "I'm from a giant ultimate god family in the land of cloud water. If you're interested, I can recommend you to join my family." "Brother, with your talent and strength, once you join our family, you'll definitely be favored by the Supreme Elder. With the Supreme Elder's guidance and your talent, it's not impossible for you to become the second Supreme Elder in our family in the future." The person who spoke was a middle-aged man with a determined face. The divine power on his body was deliberately dissipating. He was obviously a higher ultimate god. At this time, an old man snorted and stepped forward. "What's so good about joining a family force?" "Sir, I'm from a giant ultimate god sect in the land of Mysterious Gang. With your talent, if you join our sect leader will definitely be willing to recommend you to the Supreme Elder in our sect. Who knows, the Supreme Elder might even be willing to accept you as his personal disciple." One by one, the higher ultimate gods in the military camp from various planes of gods stepped forward and invited the young man in blue to join their forces after learning of his identity. "Thank you for your kindness, but I don't plan to join any forces for the time being." The young man in blue did not change his expression in the face of everyone's invitation. At the same time, he calmly rejected everyone's invitation. Although the crowd was not very happy to see this, they did not say much. Such a genius might not be a match for them now, but once he stepped into the ultimate god realm, his strength might be comparable to Duan Lingtian's current strength. It was said that Duan Lingtian's current strength was not weaker than a top medium ultimate god. One had to know that he was just a lower ultimate god who had not consolidated his cultivation base. A genius with such a foundation would definitely become one of the top upper ultimate gods when he stepped into the upper ultimate god realm. Any one of those upper ultimate gods would be at the top of the food chain. Ordinary upper ultimate gods would not be a match for them even if there were hundreds or thousands of them. At their level of strength, they could no longer rely on numbers to win. He's going to the bounty area. He's about to leave and he still wants to claim the bounty? Or did he complete some kind of bounty? Soon, the group saw the young man in blue walking toward the bounty area on the side of the military camp. Bounties were usually posted there. There were all kinds of bounty missions. Some were for treasures, some were for other things, and some were for killing someone. Of course, the bounties for killing someone were mostly for Duan Lingtian. He's looking at the bounty for Duan Lingtian. Could it be that he killed Duan Lingtian? Soon, someone noticed that the young man in blue seemed to be particularly interested in the bounty for Duan Lingtian and stopped in front of each bounty for Duan Lingtian. Chapter 43:27. The Pilgrimage Grounds, Lu Family. The Land of River Earl, Chi Family. The Land of Surging Waves, Ice Jade Divine Sect. Feng Qingyang paused in front of the bounty on his disciple, Duan Lingtian. He made a mental note of all the ultimate gods from the various planes of gods who wanted his disciple's life. With his current strength, he would not be able to do anything to these giants. However, life was full of ups and downs. It was hard to say what would happen in the future. Perhaps, in the future, he would have the strength to destroy all these forces on his own. There should be no doubt about who will be the first on the Upper God Emperor ranking board. As for the overall ranking, unless something happens to Little Tian, there is a high chance that he will be the first on the overall ranking board. As long as I can enter the top 3 on the overall ranking board, I will be satisfied. Feng Qingyang thought to himself. After that, Feng Qingyang stayed in the military camp for a period of time. He found a corner and sat down cross-legged. He closed his eyes and rested. His surroundings were enveloped by the array disc that he took out. The military camp was not small and could accommodate many people. Moreover, as long as one was willing, one could expand the military camp by spending some divine crystals. For example, Feng Qingyang was currently in a corner of the military camp. He had used divine crystals to open up an area and set up a formation. Then, he closed his eyes and cultivated. There was even a formation that blocked one's line of sight within the formation. Therefore, although there were people who were curious about Feng Qingyang, no one was able to see Feng Qingyang's face. They could only watch as the formation around Feng Qingyang stood there for a long time. No one dared to disturb Feng Qingyang. First of all, there was no way to make a move here. Therefore, if they disturbed Feng Qingyang here, other than offending Feng Qingyang, there would be no other result. As for offending Feng Qingyang, it might not be a big deal now, but when Feng Qingyang really grew up in the future, they would definitely be unlucky. They had no enmity with Feng Qingyang, so they naturally did not want to offend a monstrous genius like Feng Qingyang for no reason. At about the same time, in another military camp, there was also the figure of a young girl walking in front of various bounties for Duan Lingtian. These people, these factions, I'll remember them all. When eldest senior sister comes back, I will definitely tell her and ask her to stand up for little junior brother. If big senior sister doesn't come back soon, I'll wait until I'm strong enough to avenge little junior brother. The girl's eyes were filled with killing intent. The surrounding people who saw this only thought that the young girl's killing intent was targeted at Duan Lingtian, and there were even people who couldn't help but console her. Little girl, this Duan Lingtian isn't so easy to kill. Up until now, I've never heard of anyone succeeding. Yeah, I heard that many high-level ultimate gods have deliberately gone out to look for him with the intention of killing him to collect the bounty, but they all returned in vain. Girl, you're just a lower ultimate god. You're no match for Duan Lingtian. Originally, Lang Chunwan was still thinking about how to avenge her little junior brother in the future. Suddenly, a group of people spoke up and comforted her, which made her speechless for a moment. It was to the extent that his original solemn expression was shattered into pieces at this moment. In another military camp, a young man stood calmly on the side under the gazes of many people. He looked out of the military camp and muttered in his heart, Duan Ling, you should still be alive, right? I hope you're not dead. Otherwise, I would have wasted my efforts in saving your life. Last time, your senior brother spared my life, so we're even now. If you're not dead, we'll definitely fight again when we meet again in the future. This young man was none other than Ning Yishuan, the prodigy of the Ning clan in the Land of Punishment. Previously, when he met Duan Lingtian, he was almost killed by Duan Lingtian. It was the supreme expert of the Ning clan who saved him. Later, when he met Duan Lingtian again, he saved Duan Lingtian's life with the power of the supreme expert behind him. Later on, when he met Duan Lingtian's third senior brother, Yang Yuchen, He was almost killed by Yang Yuchen and promised Yang Yuchen to write off the debt of saving Duan Lingtian's life. This time, there's no chance for me to get into the overall ranking. It shouldn't be a problem for me to get into the top 3 of the medium ultimate gods. Ning Yishuan's eyes shone with strong confidence when he thought of this. The reason Ning Yishuan was so confident was not only because he was confident in his own strength but also because he knew many powerful medium ultimate gods had gone to hunt down Duan Lingtian and had neglected to accumulate chaos points. Under such circumstances, it was naturally much easier for him to get into the top 3 of the medium ultimate gods list. Outside the military camp, in a desolate area, 2 young men were flying in the air toward the military camp in front of them. Second senior brother, this time, both of us are destined not to get into the medium ultimate gods list. When we meet little junior brother later, we'll have to beat him up. Yang Yuchen said with a smile. Others might not know if Duan Lingtian was dead or alive, but he was very clear about it. This was because he had his little junior brother, Duan Lingtian's soul pearl in his possession. Moreover, he had obtained it when they parted last time, and the soul energy within it had yet to dissipate. Now, he was certain that his little junior brother Duan Lingtian was still alive and well. Of course, we'll beat him up. Hong Yifeng also said with a smile. Although both of us didn't help him much this time, we didn't continue to deliberately accumulate chaos points because of him. This time, he's fine and there's no doubt that he'll be the first on the lower ultimate gods list. He'll even be able to compete for the first place on the overall list. I'm not sure if he'll be first. After all, who knows if there are any hidden peerless geniuses in the god-defying realm. However, there's no doubt that he'll be in the top 3 on the overall list. Yang Yuchen said while shaking his head. I think there's a high chance. Hong Yifeng said with a smile. If little junior brother gets the first place on the overall list, according to that supreme expert, the reward for the first place on the overall list is to be able to take a bath in the divine accumulating spring. At that time, little junior brother can take as much divine accumulating spring as he wants. Even if he said he wouldn't let little junior brother take it, he'll definitely be able to secretly take it while he's taking a bath. That supreme expert can't possibly watch little junior brother take a bath all the time, right? When Hong Yifeng reached the end of his sentence, he had a smug expression on his face as though he was smarter than anyone else. However, when Yang Yuchen heard his second senior brother's words, his face twitched. Second senior brother? According to what you're saying, let little junior brother take his bath water for us to drink? Can't we let little junior brother take some divine accumulating spring before he takes a bath? Yang Yuchen was speechless. Hong Yifeng rolled his eyes at Yang Yuchen. I've already said that the supreme expert might not be willing to let little junior brother take another divine accumulating spring. If it's possible, we'll let him take it first before he takes a bath. But what if it's not possible? Right now, you seem to dislike his bath water. When he really takes the bath water and puts it in front of us, let me drink your share as well. When Hong Yifeng reached the end of his sentence, his eyes lit up. When Yang Yuchen heard this, he was first stunned before he became anxious. Who said I dislike little junior brother's bath water? That's little junior brother. We're family. Who would dislike his bath water? Second senior brother, did you hear wrongly earlier? I didn't dislike it. Don't spout nonsense in front of little junior brother. End of chapter. Chapter 43:28. Duan Lingtian naturally did not know that his third senior brother and second senior brother were already eyeing his bathwater. He was currently focused on consolidating his cultivation base as a lower ultimate god. He always felt that he was one step away from completely consolidating his cultivation base, but he had yet to take the most crucial step. He had completely forgotten about the time while he was cultivating. In his impatience, he had even forgotten that he was about to leave the upgraded version of the Chaos Territory. It wasn't until a pulling force swept over and destroyed the formation he'd set up around him, and then he was pulled and swayed. Only then did he come to his senses. This is time's up? Time's up. The upgraded version of the Chaos Territory was closed. At that moment, Duan Lingtian only felt a strong pulling force assaulting his body. This force gave him a feeling that he could not go against it. Even when he tried to activate the divine power in his body with all his might, he could not move the divine power in his body at all. It was as if there was an unusually strong force suppressing his divine power. This feeling was similar to when he took out the divine power of an immortal in the Chaos Territory. In the planar battlefield, it was possible to use the godly energy of an omnipotent. However, in the Chaos region, it was impossible to use the godly energy of an omnipotent. In fact, in the Chaos region, as long as one used the godly energy of an omnipotent, one would feel as though a powerful force was pressing down on one's body, causing one's godly energy to be unable to move. Even the divine power of an immortal would be condensed into a solid state at that moment and could not be integrated into the body at all. However, when he withdrew the Supreme Expert's divine power with just a thought, the power that suppressed his divine power disappeared. It was like the power of the laws in the Chaos region. If you violated the laws, it would suppress you. If you didn't, it would ignore you. Not only did the Chaos Territory restrict the use of the divine power of an immortal, but it was the same for the upgraded version of the Chaos Territory. As for the reason, Duan Lingtian had heard from someone in the military camp that the Chaos Territory prohibited the use of the divine power of an immortal in order to show fairness. The goal was to give the grassroots a chance to rise. After all, the grassroots generally did not have the backing of an immortal and did not have the divine power of an immortal to squander. Even Duan Lingtian had a limited amount of divine power from an immortal. Therefore, it was a good thing for Duan Lingtian that the realm of chaos forbade him from using the divine power of omnipotent experts. Otherwise, he would have long used up the divine power of the utmost powerhouse. Furthermore, it was very likely that after using up the utmost powerhouse's divine power, he would have died at the hands of an expert who had the utmost powerhouse's divine power because he did not have the utmost powerhouse's divine power to rely on. Especially that time, when he faced an opponent that could almost kill him. If the opponent could use the divine power of an omnipotent master while he didn't, he would have died without a doubt. He went out. Once we get out of here, we'll know the results of the ranking list and the overall ranking list. Right now, I only know how many chaos points I've accumulated. I don't know how many chaos points the others have. However, with my chaos points, it shouldn't be difficult for me to rank first on the overall ranking. As for the lower ultimate gods list, that goes without saying. With such thoughts in mind, Duan Lingtian was teleported out of the upgraded Chaos Realm and into the planar battlefield where the Divine Offering Land and the Sanctioned Land intersected. Of course, he was not directly sent to the barracks. Therefore, after he got out, Duan Lingtian was still extremely vigilant. After confirming that there was no danger in the surroundings, he breathed a sigh of relief. Right now, people should be sent out one after another. It won't be long before the results of the ranking list and overall ranking list in the upgraded Chaos Realm are displayed in the sky above all the planar battlefield. With that thought, Duan Lingtian suddenly raised his head and looked straight at the sky. At the same time, the people who were sent out of the upgraded Chaos Realm all raised their heads to look at the sky, waiting for the appearance of the upgraded Chaos Realm's ranking list. Many people who did not enter the planar battlefield had also entered the planar battlefield at this time. They wanted to be the first to know the ranking list that would appear after the upgraded Chaos Realm was over. Even the Xia clan of the Divine Offering Land sent some people. The head of the Xia clan, Xia Yu, personally came. This time, he did not participate in the battle for the upper ultimate gods list in the upgraded Chaos Realm because he felt that he would not be able to catch up with the upper ultimate gods who had entered the planar battlefield earlier if he did not enter the planar battlefield to accumulate battle merits in the beginning and entered after hearing the news that the upgraded Chaos Realm was about to open. In this way, entering the Chaos Realm would only lead to disappointment. Even the head of the Yun clan, Yun Tingfeng, entered the Chaos Realm and the upgraded Chaos Realm. In fact, he was not optimistic about it and felt that the chances of Yun Tingfeng entering the upper ultimate gods list were slim. If that boy dies, he can only blame it on his bad luck. If he doesn't die, will he be first on the overall ranking list this time? Although Xia Yu did not like his cheap son-in-law whom he had never met from the beginning, when news of his cheap son-in-law came again and again, it made his originally unwavering heart waver. A lower ultimate god who was not even 1,000 years old. He killed lower ultimate gods like killing dogs and was recognized as the #1 lower ultimate god in the god-defying world. Not many middle-level ultimate gods were a match for him. This was before. Now, he believed that with Yun Tingfeng's talent, his strength must be even stronger. He might even be able to compete with those top upper ultimate gods. Moreover, he also learned that his cheap son-in-law was no longer just a loose cultivator with no background in his eyes. Yun Tingfeng was not only a genius, but his background was also extraordinary. He was a member of the Myriad Law Academy's inner branch in the Xingang land and was this generation's junior brother. The Myriad Law Academy's inner branch was also full of monsters in this generation. First, it was Huangfu Mengyuan, then Hong Yifeng and now Duan Lingtian, the #1 upper ultimate god in the god-defying world, the #1 medium ultimate god in the god-defying world, and the #1 lower ultimate god in the god-defying world were all from the Myriad Law Academy's inner branch. It's a pity that the Myriad Law Academy's inner branch and Myriad Law Academy don't have any supreme experts to directly protect them. Otherwise, he would be able to say something. That way, I wouldn't be threatened by Yun Tingfeng with the ancestor's safety. The ancestor is currently on duty there, and his safety is completely in the hands of the Yun family's ancestor. Although the Yun family's ancestor might not listen to Yun Tingfeng's suggestion, he still has to be on guard. Thinking up to here, Xia Yu sighed inwardly. Yun Tingfeng was still too young and he was still too weak. If he had 4 supreme experts now, he would not have fallen into such a dilemma. He could almost imagine that when Duan Lingtian was really killed by the Yun family because of his cooperation with them, his daughter would definitely hate him for the rest of her life when she learned of this news. From the perspective of a father, he should naturally be happy for his daughter after learning that she had such a talented husband with an extraordinary background who was completely worthy of her. However, from the perspective of the Xia family patriarch, he had no other choice. Behind him was not only his daughter, but also the entire Xia family clan. On one side was his daughter's happiness, and on the other side was the future of the entire Xia family clan. It might even be the downfall of the entire Xia family clan. Although it was said to be a choice, he actually had no choice. From the moment he became the Xia family patriarch, the Xia family was his responsibility. At the same time, Yun Tingfeng, the patriarch of the Yun family, was transported to the nearby military camp. Since someone recognized him, the people nearby all showed him respect. That's the patriarch of the Yun family. The patriarch of the Yun family, the publicly acknowledged strongest person in the Yun family after the supreme experts? That's him. I didn't expect the patriarch of the Yun family to be in the realm battlefield as well. Could it be that he's also participating in the upgraded version of the Chaos Zone's Supreme Gods list? That's most likely the case. At this moment, although Yun Tingfeng was surrounded by a group of people, he completely ignored them. As the patriarch of the Yun family, he was the center of attention no matter where he went in the Divine Offering Land. The scenes he had seen in the Divine Offering Land were much bigger than this. He was long used to it. Currently, Yun Tingfeng was looking up at the sky, waiting for the upgraded version of the Chaos Zone's Supreme Gods list and the top 3 rankings to appear. There's a high chance that Duan Lingtian has died, right? I hope he's already dead. Otherwise, Xia Yu might change his mind. In Yun Tingfeng's opinion, Xia Yu had been willing to cooperate with him to deal with Duan Lingtian because he had threatened Xia Yu with the safety of the Xia family patriarch. However, at that time, Xia Yu did not know that Duan Lingtian had an extraordinary background. Now that Xia Yu knew about it, he might have other thoughts. If Duan Lingtian isn't dead and he really dares to change his mind, even if the Xia family patriarch doesn't die, he'll be skinned alive. Yun Tingfeng snorted coldly in his heart. He had already told the Yun family patriarch about this matter. At first, the patriarch was a little hesitant. However, after learning about how monstrous Duan Lingtian was, he listened to Yun Tingfeng's suggestion. As the Yun family patriarch, He naturally did not want a terrifying enemy to appear in the Yun family in the future. If Yun Tingfeng had used the safety of the Xia family patriarch to threaten the patriarch of the Xia family to marry his daughter to his son, the Yun family patriarch might not have helped him. However, this time, the Yun family patriarch had already confirmed that he would help Yun Tingfeng when he used the safety of the Xia family patriarch to threaten Xia Yu to join forces with him to deal with Duan Lingtian. The Yun family patriarch was also a member of the Yun family. He was the person with the highest seniority in the Yun family. Naturally, he did not want his descendant to be in trouble. It's out. While Yun Tingfeng's mind was still spinning and his gaze had become somewhat absent-minded, he suddenly heard a series of exclamations. His eyes narrowed abruptly. In the next instant, the rankings appeared one after another in the sky. 9 rankings appeared in the sky and formed a circle. And at the center of this circle, there was a list with only 3 lines of words on it. It was the overall ranking. Chapter 43-29. The overall ranking. At this moment, even though there were 9 lists around them with 10 lines of words on each list, no one was looking at them. Although these 9 lists represented the low-level godly emperors to high-level godly emperors, they could see the 90 most outstanding people in the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm. However, everyone's attention was on the overall ranking in the middle. The 3 lines of words attracted everyone's attention. After everyone's eyes fell on it, they did not move away for a long time as if they had taken root on it. After a while, the sound of people inhaling cold air could be heard from all over the plains of gods. It's really him. He didn't die. There were so many bounties, but none of them managed to capture him? The more monstrous one is, the harder it is to kill him. This is too scary. At this moment, everyone's eyes were on the first line of the overall ranking. First place, Lower Divine Master of the Mysterious Gang, Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian. This name was not unfamiliar to anyone in the planar battlefield. In the past few decades, this name had spread throughout the planar battlefield and even the plains of gods. Let me tell you, I've been using a book-chasing app recently, /me/reading/app// to read books in a cache and read them offline. As far as they knew, they had never heard of such a monstrous existence in the history of the god-defying realm. He had entered the ultimate god realm before the age of 1,000. Moreover, he had no opponents among the lower divine masters as soon as he entered the ultimate god realm. Even among the medium divine masters, only the top ones could suppress him. Of course, what they knew was Duan Lingtian's strength not long after the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm was opened. In their opinion, after 30 years of accumulation in the upgraded version of the Chaos Realm, even if Duan Lingtian's current strength did not improve too much, it must have improved to a certain extent. Perhaps, he could even compete with those top medium divine masters. He really is the first. This is too shocking. Duan Lingtian really got the first place. When the crowd came back to their senses, they were in an uproar. Although many people were mentally prepared, when the moment really came, they still couldn't help but be shocked. Not only was this Duan Lingtian still alive, but he had also taken first place in the overall ranking. Getting the first place on the overall ranking list means that he'll get the first place reward. At the same time, the first place on the lower Ultimate Gods list is undoubtedly his. Taking the first place on the overall ranking list and the first place on the lower Ultimate God ranking list is something we're jealous of, but it's nothing to him. Oh my God! Wouldn't he be able to absorb as much as he wanted by soaking in the divine containment spring? On top of that, he could also obtain a Supreme Master's Godhead. A Supreme Expert's Godhead is a priceless treasure. It's said that once you get a Paragon-level Godhood, you'll be able to master the magical laws within it, and you'll be able to travel thousands of miles in a single day. Now, many people were a little jealous. They were jealous of the reward that Duan Lingtian was about to receive. He's really in first place. In a military camp at the intersection of the Xiangang land and the pilgrimage grounds, Yang Yuchen's face was full of smiles. At the same time, in the wilderness, Hong Yifeng also had a bright smile on his face. This time, we can ask little junior brother to bring us some bathing water. No, bring back some divine containment spring. In the sky above another mountain range, Lang Chunwon's eyes lit up. Little junior brother is in first place on the overall ranking list. My ranking. After seeing that her little junior brother's name was in first place on the overall ranking list, Lang Chunwon could not help but look at the lower ultimate gods list. With just one glance, her face fell completely. How could this be? This was because Lang Chunwon realized that not only was her name not in the top 3 of the lower ultimate gods list, she was not even in the top 5, top 6, or even top 9. Her name was written on the 10th place, the last place on the list. Did they make a mistake? Lang Chunwon was a little angry. Because there was no indication of the chaos points obtained by the individual after each name, Lang Chunwon subconsciously thought that the ultimate experts had made a mistake. Of course, she only had this thought in an instant. She knew very well that the ultimate experts would not make a mistake. Even a group of ultimate experts' descendants would scramble for the upgraded Chaos Realms ranking list reward. Not to mention others, even those ultimate experts would not make a mistake on the ranking list. Furthermore, under their joint supervision, no one would be able to cheat for personal gain. Otherwise, when her little junior brother Duan Lingtian knew that the upgraded Chaos Realm was about to open, he would not be hunted down by a group of ultimate experts' descendants. It was because those ultimate experts' descendants knew that no one would be able to cheat for personal gain in the upgraded Chaos Realms ranking list that they did so. As long as they killed Duan Lingtian, they would have one less strong competitor. If it's really the young master is still alive. In another planar battlefield, in a military camp, 3 women were gathered together. Among them, the woman with delicate features, who was overshadowed by the other 2 beautiful women beside her, looked at the name in the sky, and a relieved smile appeared on her face. At this moment, the other 2 women beside her also revealed flower-like smiles on their faces. The 3 women were Jing Ru, Bai Yao, and Xiaolan. They came out of the upgraded Chaos Realm before it closed. It was because of that they were able to gather together. If they waited for the upgraded Chaos Realm to send them out, they would be separated into 3 different places after they came out, even if they were gathered together inside. They did not enter the upgraded Chaos Realm to explore the upgraded Chaos Realm. They only wanted to go in and find out more about Duan Lingtian. With their current strength, they did not dare to imagine how strong they would be in the past. However, if they were to explore the upgraded Chaos Realm, they would be in trouble in just a few days. They had only decided to enter the realm battlefield after they heard about Duan Lingtian. They wanted to confirm if the Duan Lingtian was the Duan Lingtian they knew. After they went to the upgraded Chaos Realm, they were able to confirm it. The Duan Lingtian was the Duan Lingtian they knew. Moreover, he was safe and sound. It's good that he's fine. It's good that he's fine. Whether it was Bai Yao or Xiaolan at this moment, both of them revealed a relieved smile on their faces. The huge rock that had been hanging in their hearts had also been lifted. Little Tian. Feng Qingyang stood on top of a dangerous peak as he looked at the sky with a smile on his face. At the same time, he looked down and sighed. Although I'm in the top 3, I didn't manage to squeeze into the 2nd place. Originally, Feng Qingyang thought that if his disciple, Duan Lingtian, was the 1st place on the overall ranking, he would be able to get into the 2nd place. He did not expect that he would only get into the 3rd place. The person in the 2nd place is actually a medium ultimate god. I wonder if this person's strength is stronger than little Tian's 2nd senior brother in the 10,000 Laws Palace's inner palace? Feng Qingyang was ranked 3rd on the overall ranking. There was a medium ultimate god in front of him who was ranked 2nd on the overall ranking. Master. As for Duan Lingtian, at this moment, when he saw he was ranked 1st on the overall ranking, he was not surprised at all. After all, this was within his expectations. If he was surpassed, perhaps he would truly feel pleasantly surprised. However, he did not expect that there was another familiar person in the top 3 of the overall ranking. It was his master, Feng Qingyang. When he saw the name Feng Qingyang, he knew that it must be his master. There was no one else. He had heard that there was a powerful sword cultivator among the upper god emperors. He guessed that it was his master at that time and confirmed it now. However, I didn't expect that even with master strength, he would only be ranked third on the overall ranking. The person in the second place on the overall ranking must be one of the best among the medium ultimate gods. Duan Lingtian looked at the name in the second place and murmured to himself. The person in second place was a medium ultimate god from the floating land, Yushensher. He knew very well that unless one was an extremely strong medium ultimate god, it would be unrealistic to monopolize the secret realm where medium ultimate gods gathered. The fact that he was ranked second on the overall ranking meant that he was very strong. Even among the top medium ultimate gods, he must be one of the best. Perhaps he had encountered a top medium ultimate god in the secret realm, but even if they joined forces with the rest, they were still no match for him. This person's strength. I'm afraid he's above a group of top medium ultimate gods. Maybe he's recognized as the top medium ultimate god in the god-defying realm. Duan Lingtian knew that he was recognized as the top medium ultimate god in the god-defying realm. However, he did not know that his first senior sister Huangfu Mengyuan was called the top medium ultimate god in the god-defying realm by the absolute experts. He also did not know that his second senior brother Hong Yifeng was called the top medium ultimate god in the god-defying realm by the absolute experts. He had not entered any military camp before coming out of the upgraded chaos territory. He was mainly worried that someone would know that he had entered a military camp and ambush him near it. After leaving the military camp, although he appeared in different places, he was still near the military camp. As long as there were enough people, it would be difficult for him to escape the pursuit of others. How should I receive the rewards for the overall ranking and the ranking of the same realm? Suddenly, Duan Lingtian thought of this problem. From the beginning to the end, the absolute experts who announced the opening of the upgraded chaos territory and the various ranking rewards of the upgraded chaos territory did not seem to have told them how to redeem the rewards. Although they didn't say, they shouldn't go back on their words, right? As soon as this thought appeared, Duan Lingtian suppressed it as he felt that he was overthinking. Even absolute experts would want to save face. Moreover, this time, there must be some absolute experts' descendants on the ranking list. If the absolute experts who initiated the upgraded chaos territory reneged on their words, the other absolute experts would not let it go. Chapter 43:30. Also, didn't I enter the dimensional battlefield as someone from the world of divine offering? Didn't I enter the chaos territory or even the upgraded version of the chaos territory? Why does the overall ranking list and the lower ultimate god ranking list show that I'm a lower ultimate god from the Shengang land? This was something Duan Lingtian did not realize at first. He only regained his senses after a while. He had entered the dimensional battlefield from the world of divine offering. In the dimensional battlefield, the chaos territory, and the upgraded version of the chaos territory, he had also participated in the secret realm competition as someone from the world of divine offering. The people he met in the secret realm were basically from the world of divine offering. There was even one time when half of the people he met in the secret realm were from the Shengang land, but his identity was still from the world of divine offering. However, the overall ranking list and the lower ultimate god ranking list clearly stated that he was a lower ultimate god from the Shengang land. Is it because it's my first time entering the dimensional battlefield as someone from the Shengang land? Or is it because everyone knows that I'm from the Myriad Law Palace in the Shengang land? At this moment, Duan Lingtian had thousands of questions in his heart. Of course, what he cared about the most now was how the ultimate experts would fulfill their promise and give him the ranking list reward. That was the most important thing. Also, third senior brother, is he on the ranking list? After seeing his ranking, Duan Lingtian, who was quite satisfied with his ranking, looked at the medium ultimate god ranking list again, trying to find his third senior brother's name. However, as he searched, he did not see his third senior brother's name. He's not on the ranking list? Third senior brother, this is too bad, isn't it? The first on the medium ultimate god ranking list was the medium ultimate god ranked second on the overall ranking list, Yu Xianshi from the floating land. However, he did not see his third senior brother Yang Yuchen's name in the next 9. When I get out and see third senior brother, I can make fun of him. Duan Lingtian's lips curled into a faint smile. Fourth senior sister, on the other hand, although she came in later, she's ranked 10th on the lower ultimate god ranking list. Moreover, she's only a nomological clone who came in to fight for the ranking list. If it was me, I might be able to improve further. This time, I'm afraid that not only will third senior brother be mocked by me, fourth senior sister will definitely not give up this opportunity to mock him. That's not right. Suddenly, Duan Lingtian recalled something. Third senior apprentice brother said that second senior apprentice brother has been in the planar battlefield all this time. He should be participating in this upgraded version of the Chaos Realms rankings. He's actually not on the list? According to third senior brother, the second senior brother whom he had yet to meet was stronger than third senior brother. Logically speaking, the second senior brother should be even stronger now. Moreover, he had been on the planar battlefield for a long time. He didn't lack battle merits, and his foundation was better than third senior brother's. Logically speaking, he shouldn't have failed to enter the top 10. It seems like second senior brother is either unlucky, or his strength is only SOSO. This was also the thought that appeared in Duan Lingtian's mind at this moment. Of course, he had no intention of looking down on that second senior brother. It was purely a simple thought in his heart. But Ning Yixuan is also very strong. He just became a medium ultimate god not long ago, but he's already ranked 5th. On the medium ultimate gods list, Ning Yixuan's name was ranked 5th. Although he did not enter the top 3, it was actually not bad. After all, Ning Yixuan had just become a medium ultimate god not long ago. While Duan Lingtian was thinking that Ning Yixuan's ranking was not bad, in another part of the divine adjudication battlefield, above a forest, Ning Yixuan was standing unscrupulously in the air. His expression was not very good. I didn't even enter the top 3? Just now, Ning Yixuan's attention was attracted by Duan Lingtian's ranking. First place on the overall list. First place on the lower ultimate gods list. He was not surprised that Duan Lingtian had made it to first place on the lower ultimate gods list. However, he was a little surprised that he had also made it to first place on the overall list. At the same time, he was a little disappointed after looking at the top 3 names on the overall list. He was not included. Originally, when he looked at the overall list, he thought that even if he did not make it to the top 3, he would still have a high chance of making it to the top 3 on the medium ultimate gods list. Of course, there was no hope for first place. This was because the second place on the overall list was also a medium ultimate god. I'm only 5th. I'm so far behind Duan Lingtian. Ning Yixuan's expression gradually became gloomy. After a while, he calmed down a little. However, soon his attention fell on the first place on the medium ultimate gods list and the second place on the overall list. A medium ultimate god from the floating land, Yu Xianshi? I've never heard of this person before. I've heard that there's a giant ultimate god clan in the floating land, the Yu clan. Could this Yu Xianshi be from the Yu clan? Ning Yixuan could not help but think to himself. However, if he's from the Yu clan, it's impossible for him to be unknown. Could he be a hidden genius from the Yu clan? However, with the Yu clan's foundation, is there a need to hide such a genius? The current Ning Yixuan was very confused about this. In fact, Ning Yixuan was not the only one who was confused. Even the descendants of other supreme experts and top experts from various planes of gods were also very confused. This was because they had never heard of this Yu Xianshi before. A genius from the Yu clan? Never heard of him. There's such a person in the Yu clan? However, what was unexpected was that even many people from the Yu clan in the floating land were very confused. Yu Xianshi? Is he from the Yu clan? We don't have such a person in the Yu clan, right? Of course, there were also a few older experts from the Yu clan whose expressions changed drastically. Could it be that child from back then? That child who was abandoned by the Yu clan? The older experts from the Yu clan who thought of that secret changed their expressions one after another. If it was that child, the Yu clan would really be humiliated this time. Even the strongest ancestor behind the Yu family might fly into a rage because of this. After all, that ancestor did not know about that incident back then. While many people were confused about the identity of Yu Xianshi, who was ranked second on the overall list, Duan Lingtian did not feel anything. This was because even if Yu Xianshi was famous, it was normal that he had not heard of him. After all, he really did not know much about the geniuses of the floating land. Currently, he was still confused about how those supreme experts would distribute the rewards for the upgraded version of the Chaos Regions list. Will they wait until they return to the Mystic Handle Land and find me at the Law Palace? Or will they directly find me at the Dimensional Battlefield to receive their rewards? The other rewards are fine. They can be given to me in person at any time. But to take a bath in the Divine Corrupting Spring, they can't give me the entire Divine Corrupting Spring, right? I should go to a specific place to take a bath, right? Chapter 43-31. Duan Lingtian knew very well that it was basically impossible for him to get an entire pool of divine corporeal spring water. Otherwise, the other party would not have said that the person who ranked first on the overall leaderboard could take a bath in the divine corporeal spring water. If they were really willing to give it to him, they could have just said that the reward was a pool of divine corporeal spring water. Why did they have to say that the reward was a bath? Of course, Duan Lingtian still had a headache about how to claim the reward. Next, he naturally hoped to go to the Xia family in the world of divine offering to see if Kerr had returned to the Xia family. Then, after confirming that Kerr was safe, he would return to the Myriad Arts Academy in the Xingang land. As for rescuing Kerr, naturally, he would have to wait until he claimed the reward this time. The reward this time would be an important turning point in his life. Whether he could use this opportunity to advance further and even become a medium ultimate god depended entirely on this opportunity. It can't be that I'm going to claim the reward in there, right? If that's the case, can I choose when to claim the reward for taking a bath in the divine corporeal spring water? After all, I still have something important to do. For Duan Lingtian, the most important thing now was to go to the world of divine offering to confirm if his wife, Kerr, had returned to the Xia family. If she had not returned, he would wait for the dimensional battlefield to close and see if his wife, Kerr, had returned to the Xia family. If he entered the divine corporeal spring water before that, he did not know how much time he would have to waste. By then, he might miss the best time to rescue his wife. Although the reward of the divine corporeal spring water was good and might allow him to reach the top in a single bound, to him, his wife was more important than anything else. All these years, he had fought so hard to become stronger. But was it not to save his wife? He had always been fighting for this goal. If it's really here and I'm welcomed by that supreme expert, maybe I can ask him for a favor. This way, it won't affect my chances of getting the reward this time, and it won't affect Kerr's safety. Duan Lingtian knew very well that once the planar battlefield closed and the Xia family really threatened Kerr, Kerr would very likely go to extremes at the critical moment. Now, the Xia family no longer had any bargaining chips that could restrain Kerr. The bargaining chips that could restrain Kerr and his family had all been released by the third master of the Xia family, Xia Jie. If it really came to that, with his understanding of Kerr, Kerr would definitely not compromise. Even if he had to die again, he would not compromise. And this was not what he wanted to see. Let's leave this battlefield first and return to the world of divine remains. After making up his mind, Duan Lingtian prepared to leave the battlefield and return to the world of divine remains. He would go to the Xia family and inquire about Kerr. I wonder if the nearby military camp is far away. What Duan Lingtian needed to do next was naturally to find a military camp and teleport out. Although the Chaos Realm had closed, the planar battlefield was still open, and there was still some time before it closed. Also, if Kerr is still in the planar battlefield and she knows that I came from the Myriad Law Academy in the Xingang land, she might go to the Myriad Law Academy to look for me. If there's no news about Kerr in the world of divine remains, I'll return to the Xingang Land and Myriad Law Academy through the planar battlefield. Who knows, I might be able to reunite with Kerr in the Myriad Law Academy. When he thought of this, Duan Lingtian's heart burned with passion, and he became even more eager to find a military camp nearby. However, not long after he flew out, he suddenly felt the space in front of him tremble. If he was an ordinary person who was proficient in other laws, he might not have been able to react so quickly, but he was proficient in the law of space. Then, Duan Lingtian saw the trembling space in front of him suddenly distort and fold, and then a figure walked out of the folded space without tearing it apart. It was as if the matter that had extended from the space had turned into the person in front of him. It was a middle-aged man with an unruly look, a resolute face, and a solemn expression. He walked slowly in the air toward Duan Lingtian. He looked like an ordinary person, but Duan Lingtian felt that this person's existence made him feel somewhat pressured. At this moment, the tree of life in his small world began to tremble, and he was so frightened that he hurriedly sealed the small world in his body. This is an ultimate powerhouse. At this moment, Duan Lingtian confirmed the other party's identity. In the past, even the projection of the Ning family's ultimate powerhouse behind Ning Yishuan had not given the tree of life in his small world so much pressure. However, the person in front of him made the tree of life in his small world somewhat restless. At the same time, a gentle voice sounded in his body before he completely sealed the small world in his body. Little Tian? What's going on? Where are you? How did you encounter the ultimate powerhouse's true body? It was the ultimate powerhouse's true body. The voice belonged to the world-cleansing divine water. The world-cleansing divine water was born next to a divine tree of life in a realm of gods. It was the divine tree of life in his body. The divine tree of life used to belong to another supreme expert who ruled over a realm of gods during that era. He was one of the strongest ultimate powerhouses in the godly defiance realm. For this reason, the world-cleansing divine water was much more experienced than the ordinary 5 divine elements. The ultimate powerhouse's true body. Although Duan Lingtian had already guessed the identity of the person in front of him, he was still shocked by the world-cleansing divine water's words. It was the ultimate powerhouse's true body. It was not the projection of his true body, but his true body. Duan Lingtian greets Senior. Duan Lingtian took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. He then cupped his hands and bowed respectfully to the person in front of him. It was the ultimate powerhouse's true body. Such an existence could kill Jian Wushuang with just a breath. It was not difficult for Jian Wushuang to guess why the person would appear in front of him. The person must be here to redeem the first place on the Chaos Territory's overall list and the lower Ultimate God list. Jian Wushuang's heart was filled with bitterness. What he did not want to happen had finally happened. As a result, a wisp of bitterness appeared on the corners of Duan Lingtian's mouth. At this moment, the middle-aged supreme powerhouse nodded at Duan Lingtian with a calm gaze. When he saw the bitterness on Duan Lingtian's lips, he was stunned for a moment before he said calmly, "I'm sure you've guessed my intention. If that's the case, why do you still feel bitter?" The middle-aged man asked bluntly. He could not understand why Jian Wushuang felt bitter. Senior. Duan Lingtian did not hide the truth as there was no need for him to do so. He might need to ask for a favor from the other party. Of course, Jian Wushuang did not want to do so if he could. Even if the other party was an ultimate powerhouse, he might not need Jian Wushuang's favor. What about in the future? Duan Lingtian did not think that he would stop at the upper ultimate god level. He would definitely become an ultimate powerhouse. I wonder if I can choose when to bathe in the divine corporeal spring? Also, can you give me the other things in advance? The moment Duan Lingtian opened his mouth, he asked 2 consecutive questions. The middle-aged man's face was no longer calm. He frowned slightly and asked, "You still have things to do? Can't you leave?" Duan Lingtian nodded. The middle-aged man's face flashed with displeasure when he heard Jian Wushuang's answer. Even he was envious of the opportunity to bathe in the divine corporeal spring. However, Jian Wushuang was not enthusiastic at all. Of course, the middle-aged man did not make a decision immediately. He immediately asked the person behind him, "Sir, The middle-aged man explained the situation he was facing to the people behind him. The person behind him quickly responded, "Tell him that he can only enjoy the reward if he baths in the divine corporeal spring now. Otherwise, he'll be disqualified. We gave him such a good opportunity, but he didn't cherish it. Instead, he's dragging his feet." Although the young man's tone did not carry any anger, it was clear that he could not understand Jian Wushuang's decision. After receiving Duan Ling Tian's reply, he looked at Duan Ling Tian and said indifferently, "I can give you the other rewards now. However, as for the reward for bathing in the divine corporeal spring, you can come with me and enjoy it. Otherwise, you can give up. The choice is up to you," the middle-aged man said. Duan Lingtian's expression changed drastically when he heard this. The thing that he did not want to see the most had finally happened. After his expression changed greatly, he became uncertain again. In the end, Duan Lingtian's expression turned solemn as though he had made an important decision. "Senior." Duan Lingtian looked at the middle-aged man and said sincerely, "I, Duan Ling, rarely ask for help in my life. I wonder if you can do me a favor and do me a favor? This is very important to me. If Senior is willing to help, I, Duan Lingtian, will definitely repay this favor in the future. It's fine if Senior is not willing to help. However, I think I'll have to give up the chance to bathe in the divine corporeal spring." Duan Lingtian's expression turned solemn when he reached the end of his sentence. When the middle-aged man heard Duan Lingtian's words, he frowned again. This fellow in front of him actually wanted to give up the chance to bathe in the divine corporeal spring for a favor? Could it be that he didn't know that even if such a precious opportunity was placed in the hands of a group of supreme experts, that group of supreme experts would still fight to the death for it? However, out of curiosity, he still wanted to ask what Duan Lingtian wanted him to help with. He still thought highly of this genius of the younger generation, Duan Lingtian. If it was something that he could help with, it was not impossible for him to help Duan Lingtian and form a good relationship with him. "What do you want me to help with?" the middle-aged man asked. Of course, he could not help with everything. He would only help Duan Lingtian if it was within his capabilities and did not violate the rules of the realm battlefield. When Duan Lingtian heard this, his eyes lit up. If the middle-aged man said this, it meant that there was a chance. Chapter 43-32. It's still too early to celebrate. Duan Lingtian was overjoyed for a moment before he calmed down. After all, the middle-aged man had not decided whether he was willing to help him. This was related to the two great clans in the world of divine remains, the Xia clan and the Yun clan. Moreover, both clans had omnipotent experts. Although the matter between him and Kerr might not necessarily alarm the omnipotent experts, the middle-aged man in front of him might not be willing to offend two clans with omnipotent experts behind them for his sake. After taking a deep breath, Duan Lingtian looked at the middle-aged man in front of him and said solemnly, "Elder, this is what happened." Duan Lingtian did not intend to hide anything from the omnipotent expert. He told the middle-aged man the story between him and his wife. Of course, he did not mention Yun Qingyan. He only said that the Xia clan looked down on him. He was also worried that the omnipotent expert before him might be on good terms with the omnipotent expert behind the Yun clan and refuse to help him. The reason he asked the omnipotent expert to help him was simple. He wanted to confirm whether Kerr had returned to the Xia clan. After confirming that Kerr had returned to the Xia clan, the omnipotent expert would tell Kerr about his current situation. He wanted to let Kerr know that he had a chance to save her from the abyss of suffering. All in all, the story Duan Lingtian told the omnipotent expert was both true and false. The truth was that he had feelings for his wife, Kerr, and the reason why he had grown so quickly was because he wanted to save his wife, Kerr. In addition, when he separated from Kerr, he said that the Xia clan looked down on him. This time, he hoped that the omnipotent expert would go to the Xia clan and let them know of his existence. He hoped that the Duan Lingtian in the dimensional battlefield would be the husband of the Xia clan's young mistress, Xia Ningxue, in this life. As for the Yun clan, he only said a few words casually. He said that the Xia clan intended to let his wife marry into the Yun clan. As for the Yun family's marriage partner, he didn't say anything. His request was simple. He just had to confirm that his wife, Kerr, had returned to the Xia family. He also had to inform Kerr about his current strength and situation. He also had to inform Kerr that their family and friends were safe and sound. Under such circumstances, he believed that with Kerr's intelligence, she would definitely know how to stall for time and wait for him to openly pick her up from the Xia family home. As for the middle-aged man, after listening to Duan Lingtian's series of words, he was actually a little speechless. At the same time, he felt a little tired. He was a supreme powerhouse, an extremely powerful existence, yet the other party actually wanted him to run errands? To think that he had thought that this Duan Lingtian had some sort of difficult matter that he needed his help with. He had even thought that if it was too difficult, he would reject Duan Lingtian, but in the end, he was only asked to run errands? I wonder, Senior, are you willing to help? Duan Lingtian looked at the middle-aged man in front of him and said solemnly, "No problem." This time, the middle-aged man did not ask the person behind him because he knew that the person behind him would definitely not stop him from helping Duan Lingtian. Moreover, he had his own selfish motives. Based on the talent and strength that Duan Lingtian had displayed so far, as long as he did not die prematurely, he was destined to rise in the future. In the future, when he became a supreme powerhouse, he would most likely be the strongest among the supreme powerhouses in the god-defying realm. Furthermore, Duan Lingtian had also said that he would repay this favor with gusto in the future. If this kind of errand work could be exchanged for Duan Lingtian's repayment with gusto, it was too worth it. Duan Lingtian is extremely grateful that Senior is willing to help. In the future, I will definitely not let Senior regret this favor. Duan Lingtian quickly expressed his gratitude after receiving confirmation from the supreme powerhouse in front of him. In his opinion, this favor might be a piece of cake in the eyes of the supreme powerhouse in front of him. It was just an errand work. However, it was very important to him because it concerned the safety of his wife, Kerr. Now, can you follow me to the place where the divine corporeal spring is? The middle-aged man looked at Duan Lingtian and asked, "When you enter the divine corporeal spring, I will go to the Xia family in the world of divine remains to find your wife and tell her what you said to me. If she is not in the Xia family, as long as she is still in the battlefield of the god's adjudication, as long as you and the Xia family know the name that she might have used, I can help you find her," the middle-aged man said. The last sentence was said because he felt that the favor that Duan Lingtian asked of him was too simple, and he felt a little apologetic. For him, it was not too difficult to find a person in the battlefield of the god's adjudication, as long as the person did not use a pseudonym that other people close to him did not know. "Thank you, Senior." Duan Lingtian thanked him profusely. At the same time, he felt more at ease and felt that this supreme powerhouse was very reliable. If there was a chance in the future, he would repay him well. Soon after, Duan Lingtian received the other rewards from the middle-aged man and followed him, preparing to leave. He watched as the middle-aged man waved his hand and the scene in front of him changed. Then, he realized that his entire body was enveloped by a force and was being carried through the air rapidly. Then there was the sound of the wind. However, the scene in front of him became completely blurry. It was colorful and even a little distorted. Nothing could be seen clearly and nothing could be seen clearly. Is this because he's fast? Or is it because of the space we're traveling through right now, and the scenery between spaces is like this? At this moment, Duan Lingtian could not recognize what was going on. Soon after, the middle-aged man's voice rang in Duan Lingtian's ears again. "After the span of 3 breaths, another force will descend on you. At that time, there's no need for you to resist. Just go along with it. It will bring you to the place where the divine corporeal spring is. I'm only responsible for bringing you here. I don't care about what happens after that," the middle-aged man said. When Duan Lingtian heard that, he was mentally prepared. At the same time, he felt that as the number 1 on the overall ranking board, he was given a lot of face. And Supreme Powerhouse had brought him here and another person was going to bring him to the place where the divine corporeal spring was. This must be another supreme powerhouse, right? I'm just a lower ultimate god and two supreme powerhouses are going to bring me here personally? Even though Duan Ling Tian had experienced countless storms along the way, at this moment, he still could not help but feel elated in the depths of his heart. 3 breaths passed in the blink of an eye. Soon, a force swept over. It gave Duan Ling Tian the feeling that it was gentler and more domineering than the middle-aged man's force. Gentler and domineering. The two contradictory words merged at this moment. The combination of contradictions gave Duan Ling Tian an indescribable feeling. Try your best to absorb the divine corporeal spring for your cultivation. You only have one chance. Once you can no longer absorb the divine corporeal spring, you'll be sent out. When another force attacked him and the force from the middle-aged man left, Duan Ling Tian heard a kind reminder. Suddenly, a cold snort was heard. Duan Ling Tian felt the world spinning around him. He was in a daze as though he had fallen into a half-asleep state. He felt as though he had entered a dream. In other words, he felt as though he was dreaming at this moment, especially when he heard a faint voice behind him. It made him even more certain that he was dreaming. Sir, he could vaguely recognize that it was the middle-aged supreme powerhouse's voice. Because of that, he felt as though he was dreaming. He must be dreaming. That was a supreme powerhouse. What kind of person was qualified for him to address him as sir? A supreme powerhouse had to address someone else as sir? This must be a joke. He must be dreaming. Almost at the same time when Duan Ling Tian thought he was dreaming, the middle-aged man who received him appeared in an endless void. A small courtyard with a gazebo was suspended in the endless void. It gave off a hollow feeling. At this moment, the middle-aged man landed in the small courtyard in front of the gazebo. He bowed respectfully, not daring to raise his head to look at the young man dressed in white in the gazebo. Why did he suddenly change his mind? The young man in white asked nonchalantly. Upon hearing the young man's question, the middle-aged man quickly told him everything Duan Ling Tian had asked him to do. At the same time, he also mentioned the Xia clan and Yun clan in the divine offering land. For the sake of his wife, he went from a low-level mundane realm to a realm of gods in less than 1,000 years and even entered the ultimate god realm? The young man's eyes gleamed when he heard the middle-aged man's words. I didn't expect him to be such a sentimental young man. I don't quite understand it either. The middle-aged man shook his head. The young man snorted coldly. I'm afraid you haven't even touched a woman's hand since you were born, right? It's only natural that you don't understand. The middle-aged man's expression froze when he heard the young man's words. He could not help but mutter inwardly, You speak as if you've touched a woman's hand before. What are you muttering in your heart? The young man's words rang out once again, causing the middle-aged man's expression to change greatly. Did the young man see through his thoughts? If that was the case, how powerful was the young man in front of him? Had he improved again? I can't tell what you're thinking. The young man saw the middle-aged man's expression and said nonchalantly, It's just a guess. Now, are you wondering if my strength has improved again? The middle-aged man's heart skipped a beat when he heard the young man's words. At the same time, he was confused. Did the young man really improve or did he just guess what was on his mind? Go ahead. After a while, the young man said nonchalantly, Make a trip to the Xia clan in the divine offering land and the Yun clan in the divine offering land. Find out the ins and outs of this matter. I have a feeling that everything he told you doesn't make sense in some places. Perhaps there's something he didn't tell you. Go and confirm it yourself. Then come back and tell me. I also want to know. After so many years in the godly defiance realm, the first person to step into the ultimate god realm within 1,000 years. What kind of belief supported him all the way to this step? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.